Barashayat. In the beginning, Yah created the heavens and the earth. His spirit moved upon the waters. It's all in his word. He said, let there be light. And he called the light day. And the darkness he called night. He saw that it was. He made heaven and called forth the dry land. Gathered the waters, called it the seed. And he made seed for man. Brought forth the grass and every herb and every fruit yielding tree on this earth. He saw that it was. He made lights to divide day and night times for seasons, days, and years to let them be for signs. And so the earth could have light. He made the greater one to rule the day and the lesser one to rule the night. Let's not forget he made the stars also. Then he told the waters to bring forth life, and it was so. He created all the birds of the sky, all the cattle and every creeping thing after his own kind. He saw that it was. Then Yah created man. In his own image he created them. Male and female he created them. He blessed them to be fruitful and to multiply and to replenish the earth and subdue everything within. Behold, it was very good when it saw what he had made. The even in the morning were the sixth day. And on the seventh day he rested. That's why he sanctified and blessed it. It's uncontested, my Yah is. And to make it understood, I'm bumping truth music when I'm rolling through my hood. I'm putting Yah first, no hood fame. You read it on a nameplate. Dwell in the house of Yahweh forever for his name's sake. And though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'm stomping through like it don't even exist. His goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life. His yoke is easy and his burden is light. My Yah is. Stayed up watching, no time for yawning. Look up at the sky, see that new day dawning. Yah be my witness, take it as a warning. Sun ain't never lie, great day in the morning. Focus, never let the nighttime revoke it. Blinded by the dark, I seen it before they cloaked it. It was marvelous, they hiding it behind the pulpit. Lying in a sick bed, vying with the culprit. How we trying on the culture, liking how it fit, now we dying with the vulture. At the round table with more nights than Mozart. Caught up in the image of that child on that poster. The light disable the diagnosis, healing the sick. I got the script and the dosage. Take it for the grind, you gon' need it for the borderline. Holler when you see the joy coming, morning time. Keep on keeping on. Morning time. Holler when you see the joy coming. Look, I guess we probably need a night light so we can continue to get our hope on. They say we headed for that light, right? Well, I'ma hit them with this photon, with that blazing sword forming like Voltron. When the morning come, they disappearing like Croatan. The Melachine, oh my Elohim, Omicron, sealed with the 70, going out like Yokanan. And when I meet my deliverer, I'm set apart, I got peace like a river. If we stay sharp with it, there's a feast on the sliver, we can take part. I advise you play it smart, it's a late start, let the light shine through the dark. Until the day star rise in your heart, take heart. When you find the door, you'll be more than fine. Holler when you see the joy coming, morning time. evidence. That's arrogance. I'm trying to save him the embarrassment. I spit truth. They forgetting what the marriage is. The meek shall inherit the earth. The rest perishes. They taught us all to listen to Balaam with their palace and their caliphate. I'm destined for Salem. Man, they rest is counterfeit. Plus it's destined to fail 'em. Shake the dust off this city, man. Who coming with me? There's a light at the end of it. I see it shine, getting life with the benefits. That's me and mine, holding fast to the legacy, whether the rain or shine. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Do you remember where we're from? Pray you the strength to carry on. Will you step into the sun?
Here to the show. Just sit back and relax because this is going to be a big ride, you guys. All right. Thank you so much for your patience.
But my love, there is no light at the end of the tunnel. You must realize that the light is you.
Yeah, you awake? Wake up, you who sleep, and arise from the dead. And Mashiach shall give you light. Yeah. He took me high on a mountain, told me look around. What I found was astounding. If I bow down, he can make anything happen, surpassing everything I could ever imagine. Flying first class, relaxing, living my passion, guaranteed satisfaction. High-end estates, cash and high fashion, high stakes, high class and high flashing, high life. Lights, camera for action, the most fly. Said I'm destined to be just like the most high. So when they crown me king, I want the power it brings. Set my throne above everything. Got the world in the palm of my hand. Now raise your hands high, I'm in high demand. Yeah, if you don't know who I am, I'm the man. They got my head gassed up to the red line, believing that the world is mine, but it's all a lie. Said I'm not of this world, so I'm hoping I'm not throwing my pearls to swine.
I tell them this little light of mine, I gotta let it shine, shine, let it shine, let it shine.
You see this light? I'ma let it shine. I guess I was supposed to respect it and give a toast, but it wasn't what I expected. With truth approach, they rejected it. They mediocre at best, it's just they'll never accept it. We get affected by the time invested. You think they blessed it, what they spitting is septic. Poison in the mind, they lies neglect what's already written. I'm rolling with the elect, you can check how they kicking it. They've been afflicted, now we gotta move mountains to fix it. No doubt, they going all out, man, I'm getting sick with how they try to reroute the ecliptic. Living in a time predicted, keeping it cryptic. They're passing it off for something to get with. I'd rather find a way around the elliptic and get this house in order before they find me evicted. Yeah. Try to keep me gassed up all the way to the red line, believing that the world is mine, but it's all a lie. See, I'm not of this world, so I'm hoping I'm not throwing my pearls to swine.
I tell them this little light of mine, I gotta let it shine, shine, let it shine, let it shine.
You see this light? I'ma let it shine.
This little light of mine, I gotta let it shine, shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I gotta let it shine, shine, let it shine, let it shine.
You see this light? I'ma let it shine.
Well, hello and good evening, everybody.
I sort of
We are
I made it a
extra
little bigger.
excited. And
But
this
if
is
you
always
look at
the end of
this, let me
that.
go back on
Oops,
this side.
whitters. That's a good video if you guys haven't already seen it. So we are looking into the actual breakdown and how to keep the Sabbat and how you're to do it. Now, there are a lot of different ways that it can be done. I'm waiting on Ronnie to come in. And it's not on him. This is on me because, all my wires got crossed. So we'll have to see. So if he's not able to come in because he was supposed to come in, but it was on me because I didn't respond fast enough. So if that's the case, don't worry, because I'm just going to share with you how I do it. And then because I, have a way that I do it, the way that he does it, the way that everybody should do it. But nonetheless, we're waiting for him to get in. And we are going to Leviticus, first of all. And we all know that Leviticus 23 is sort of where we take the actual context of, all of the feast days and how to keep that specific day holy. There are certain things that we're supposed to do, certain things we're not supposed to do. But the deal is I'm going to show you guys a calendar. And this calendar is something that is pretty simplistic. It's one that will help you to keep up with the Sabbat. And it's also one that will allow you to look at the days and memorize how it rolls, because the Creator's lunar solar calendar is just one specific way. It doesn't change, right? It's always the same. The only thing that changes are the Gregorian calendar. So the Gregorian calendar days, they change with a vengeance, constantly changing. You constantly have days and things all shifting over, and the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday. But you've got to remember is that if you're going by the moon, and how many people? Oh, we got 4 folks in here. Hello to everybody who's here that I can't see. If you want to say hello, please do. I see we have 4 on the counter. So if you want to say hey, please do, so I know who I'm talking to. And if you don't, that's cool too. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and pull this calendar up for you guys so you all can see it. And I think that you'll find that it's very helpful. It is one that Ronnie shared just recently, and I think it makes things pretty simple. Let me go ahead and open up this tab. A window or tab. There you go. Okay, so this is from my email. But this is the lunar calendar. It's the Creator's lunar solar calendar. And let me see, can you guys see that well? As I make it bigger, it may make it a little smaller. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's for me. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that? Hey, Inger, thank you so much for that blessing. I sure appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, this is perfect. I was just going to research this topic. Well, tomorrow is actually the Sabbath. And if you guys can see over here what looks like a Saturday for us, that's day 1 of this lunar solar calendar. So that's day 1. So what you're going to do is you have to, hey, Marty Lauderdale, we are literally looking at the new moon. We're literally looking at the new moon. We're literally looking at the new moon. You're literally going outside and you're literally looking at the new moon, which is, I believe, tomorrow we have the Sabbath. And this is perfect for everybody because it is from dawn to dawn. So from dawn in the morning, okay, to dawn the next day is literally our Sabbath. And that day on the Gregorian calendar is Thursday, October 21st. Thursday, October 21st. And so that is we'll have this one, then we'll have the next following Thursday, and then we'll have the following Thursday after that. And then the last Sabbath or Sabbat in this month, which is the 8th biblical month, the last Thursday is going to be the 4th of November in the Gregorian calendar. So the Gregorian calendar is going to be hey, hi, how are you? I know you can't. It's so tiny. I was trying to make it bigger, though. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Hi, Pam. Let me see if I can make it larger, if there's a way. Let me see if I can find it just on the web for you guys, because, yeah, it is sort of tiny. It is sort of tiny, Pam. So let's go. It's the Creator's Luni-Solar Calendar. And you guys can jot that down too. Let me go on another tab. All right. Let's see if we can pull this up here. Okay. All righty. Let me see. You got to go through a lot of their rigmarole and their good info. Oh, now let me tell you, for those of you who may not be hip to this cat, his name is it's the channel 7 Trumpets Prepper. Okay, his name is 7 Trumpets Prepper. You may already be affiliated with his channel, and if you are, that's good, because he is another person who has a really good way of following the Creator's calendar. All right, so let me see if I can click it. It doesn't look like it allows. Somehow Google must have got a hold to it, because you can't click it. It's not available. It says restoring the Creator's calendar. Hold on just a second. This video is not available. Okay, let me just go to his page and see if I can find it for you guys. Hold on. 7 Trumpets Prepper is where you can find this too. Now, I got turned on to him several years ago, and I think he's pretty good, because what he does is he breaks down everything. I mean, he's a very intelligent man. But nobody can beat my brother. I'm just joking. I don't mean to say it like that, because there is no competition. But, you just become partial to your brother or your sister or whomever it is that does that. So I'm trying to see if he has the biblical calendar here. But if not, in any case, his channel is still a really good channel for you to have additional research to look through. He not only does that, but he also does prepping. So that's a good thing too. But I think I see it down here. Let me let y'all see what I'm looking at. All right, so you know what I'm doing. Let me come back over yonder. Yeah, he's cool. He's really cool, Marty. Marty says she thinks she's seen his channel. I like his channel too. So, but I went online and that's what I saw right there. Okay. All right, so here's his channel right here. This is him right here. And I know he doesn't mind if we use any of his stuff, because he just really wants people to get it too. Channel update. Let me look in here and see if I can find the calendar. But I know that he keeps it the way that Ronnie and I keep it. We keep it very, very specific. And so it's very difficult to follow the Gregorian calendar and think or believe that we're going to come up with the ways of Yah, because it won't work. And there are a lot of people who still do the Saturday. There's still a lot of people who do the Sunday, but all of that stuff is still connected to Rome. I mean, you're just giving up one leader for another leader. Basically, one guy didn't like what the other guy did, so he decided to go and do it his way, and all of that stuff. So this right here is a case for the Creator's Calendar Part 1. Let's see what he's got here. Let's check him out and see. That'll help us just a little bit, just to have a way to glance at it.
All right. I think we're rolling. We already got some people in the house, looks like. All right, guys. So I apologize for the delay. I know I pulled this up to get started a little early. Let me back up here. All right. So now I don't know if this whiteboard's going to fall later. Those 3M sticky things, you can't trust them 3M sticky tabs. I'm just telling you straight up. So I want to welcome everybody into the house tonight. Before I get started, I just want to go over just a few quick things. Shalom to everybody coming in the building. This is probably going to be a 3-part series at the minimum, because there's just so many questions people have. I hope this is a help to people tonight. All right, now, if everybody's ready, get you a glass of water. We'll just all get us a little red pill there. We'll swallow it, and we'll be ready to receive some truth. Just thought I'd throw that out there, everybody. All right, so couple quick notes. The links in the video description below, I missed just a couple links because I kept thinking of so many things that I wanted to share with y'all. So in the video description below, especially after this live, and this goes public make sure to check that out because there's going to be some others added, but definitely make sure. I know we're going over this live right now, but you're going to want to go back later and check out worldslastchance.com. You're going to want to go to soundingtheloudcry.com. You're going to want to make sure to watch the Restoring the Creator's Calendar video that we done at the ministry like 5 or 6 years ago, done the re-edit, the upload, and the current upload is 4 years old, okay? And you'll have to forgive, there's still a globe earth in there and a few things, okay? Because it didn't come into the knowledge of flat earth truth until later on after that. All right, make sure to support this channel, guys. If you can super chat, that's great. Share, people loose nowadays because the new terms of service is in effect. And lastly, after the live, the link to the last live I done about my journey into the truth, a decade in this walk. If you want to go back, check that out. It's got some other useful links pertaining to the things we're going to cover tonight. All right. So, just real quickly, let me just get one more drink in. I apologize. It's a busy work day today. Hurried in so I could get this going. All right. I am going to present this to you as if I was standing in a court of law. Okay. This is my case for the Creator's calendar. All right. In 3 parts of this, I'm going to try to take you from the beginning to current. All right. Shalom, everybody. You know, I know this looks like a Whiteboard Wednesday, Jordan Belford teaching session here we're doing like on the straight line method, but I assure you we're not going to be doing no straight line teaching about business sales or anything like that today. We're going to be talking about the Father's calendar, all right? But here's the important thing I want you to take away from this. You have got to understand, if we all took that little red pill I showed you, I got my little red pill ready too, is that we've all been lied to in Sunday church and Saturday church. We've been lied to about the Father's appointed times. We've been lied to about the true calendar. We've been lied to about the true Sabbath calculation. And it's time to restore that. Literally just found out the other day, some of the Hebrew Israelites that are in Africa today still go off the new moon for the count of the Sabbath. This is so important. I found out some more stuff in a book that I'll share with you later in this presentation. I'm about to get started. Just want to share a few notes as everybody's filtering the building. Is the Limba tribe and the Igbo tribe, apparently they still do calculation off of that. Stick calendar, I need to understand it. Okay, guys, no worries. I'm going to be going over Fasti Antiochus Maioris calendar, which is the lunisolar 8-day Roman calendar. We're going to be going over stick calendar. I'm going to kill Rome's calendars today because here's the thing. If we don't delete Babylon, if we can't go up to our Sunday pastor, our Saturday church, Seventh-day Adventist church and all that, if we cannot decompartmentalize the lies that we have now and then put that to rest, you will never be able to absorb the Father's calendar in. We've got to let go of one in order to take on the other. All right. So that's my goal tonight. And I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. When you work and then you come in, do a presentation all day long, you've been on job site, thirsty and dead. Just so thirsty, it's the middle of winter. But the important thing that we're going to take away from tonight is killing off Rome. All right. We need to definitely delete Rome, because the next 2 parts is going to be Father's calendar, Father's calendar, Father's calendar. All right? All right, everybody ready to go? All right. So, clears the work area here. We'll find out how good them 3M sticky strips are. All right, so the first thing that we're going to look at is the first thing that I have always presented to people, and I have yet to this day to get an answer from pastors, teachers, scholars, preachers, except for the right answer. Now, I get an answer, just the right answer. Everyone else don't have an answer at all, okay? I am just a servant of Yah, all right? I'm just a man that's come out of Babylon. The Most High, woke me up in Sunday church, got me out of that place, then out of Saturday church, and finally to the way. Now, I'm going to tell you all tonight something rare that I don't ever hardly say on this channel, but I am here to teach tonight, okay? So I know the Most High is going to hold me accountable for what I'm sharing with you, but the only reason I'm comfortable to teach this information to you tonight is because I can show you where to find it, and you can go research it to see if it be so, all right? Because like I said, I'm giving this presentation tonight as if I was in the Father's courtroom, and he's judging me, all right? So with that said, let's begin. Break it down because I'm confused. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in Babylon in confusion, we got to come out of that. So this is going to sound foreign to us to begin with, all right? All right, so the first thing, and one last note, if this falls, I promise I'm going to rip some sheets off and just stick them on the wall. I just apologize about the sticky strips ahead of time. If you look in the Bible, all right, we all remember being taught the Battle of Jericho, all right? And you got to understand about Jericho. Jericho was a center for moon worship, from best scholarship and understanding I can gather from it too. And the important thing to understand from this is just shortly back of this, all right, 40 years prior, Moshe is spoken to in Exodus 12. This is the beginning of moons to you. So here we have the Father's true calendar being reinstituted again. And not only that, 40 years later, they're putting heathens to sword that kept a false calendar. Guys, give me just 1 second. I'm going to plug that charge cord a little tighter so that we don't lose power. All right. So what we're going to do is, if you look in Yasher chapter 88, we want to read Joshua chapter 6 first. But I'm going to read you the book of Yasher chapter 88 in just a second, a few verses in there so we can see a clear picture of what I'm about to draw. But I want to draw the illustration first, all right? So here we go. Finally getting marker to the billboard and 7 minutes in. So the battle began on New Moon Day, all right? Now we can't find this to work out on a pagan Roman calendar because the battle lasted 7 days. Now, we don't want to profane the Sabbath day, so we got to figure out how these 7 days fits in and we still have Sabbath, all right? Well, thankfully, we've got an answer in Scripture and we've got backup reference. So, New Moon Day, all right? There we go. The Passover was over. We see they began the battle, all right? Now, the next thing is they continued this battle 6 days. They went around the city of Jericho, all right? Here's the first 6 days they battled, all right? New Moon Day, 5 more days they battled. So there was 6 days. Y'all following with me? The 7th day, they went around it 7 times. 7 times. Now there's 7 days. Now you want, to anybody out there that's curious, show me which one of these days is Sabbath. I would argue you none of them were. The 8th day of the month, which is actually Sabbath. Now here's how this happens. New Moon Day begins the month. It's a set apart holy day all its own. Scripture backs this up. Now, and I'm going to bring this all out in Scripture, but you just got to let me lay a foundation for a minute. The reason I'm starting with the Father's calendar is because when we go to Rome in a minute, you're going to be like, wow, this is crazy. New Moon Day began the battle. Now we have an excerpt from this in the book of Yasher. This also is validated in the book of Joshua. So that's 2 witnesses from Scripture, all right? So New Moon Day, you counting forward, we have these 6 days of battle, all right? And the 7th day, here's the 7th one. They went around 7 times, all right? The following day was the first Sabbath of that moon, all right? Exodus 16 shows us this also. All right, so it's interesting. I'll have to. Now, guys, we're going to get into the 3 months in a row factor in the next part of this series. Okay, but we'll get to that. And I'm going to cover all this just eventually. This is important to understand because when you leave Sunday church, when you leave Saturday church, people's going to tell you you're lost. Sunday crowd's going to be like, you lost your marbles. The Sabbath's made for man, not man for the Sabbath, blah, 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 blah. And then when you go to Saturday church, they're going to be like, look, all these people that go to Sunday church, they're going to burn in the lake of fire and blah, 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 while still keeping the pagan Roman calendar. All right, now, Daniel 7:25 says he'll think to change times and laws. The Roman Catholic Church is the only institution in the world that has done that such, okay? So you understand this equation right here. That there's 7 days of battle. Now, the Most High is not going to profane his own Torah. Now, if you look at this, and I have an article linked for this below from guess who? Right out of Babylon, the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They have a whole breakdown, mini expose about that. If you look in First Maccabees, I believe it's in the 2nd chapter, and forgive me if I'm wrong about that. I have the link below. But I believe it's in the 2nd chapter of Maccabees that if you read through that, and you need to read the whole chapter in depth, you see that the people are revolting But then they chose not to battle on Sabbath, so their brothers were murdered on Sabbath. All right, here's Hebrew Israelites just being murdered on Sabbath. Now, as a person of the nations that's come over to the truth, I want the Father's people especially to see this and carry this to the nations again, because the Father gave Israel this knowledge. And now that all of us around the world are waking up, I'd like to see unity in this stand for the Father's calendar, along with so many other things, including the Torah altogether. The Maccabees, all right, they decide, hey, we're not going to be murdered no more on Sabbath. This is it for us. If they come on Sabbath to fight, we're going to kill them. And that is recorded in the written word. All right, you can check it out in Maccabees. It should be in 1 Maccabees chapter 2. And read what the Seventh-day Adventist Church, they laid out a whole expose about this. Why is this important? Why did I take that time to explain that? Because if any of these days were Sabbath, okay, why are they fighting? Somebody give an answer. And guys, chime in on this in the live tonight. I am very curious to see the gears turning in people's head. All right, because if you can get this clear picture in your mind, I'm about to read scripture from the book of Yeshua, chapter 88. But if you can understand this, then this tells you one thing. Sabbath is not 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Each month begins with a new moon and the count restarts. This is important because this lays out a foundation, because in a minute, I'm going to take the Roman calendar away from you for good, as from a scriptural perspective, because you're going to see how twisted and messed up it is. All right? Now, what you got to understand, and later we'll get into this, that each lunation, all right, is either 29 or 30 days long. Now, this is the argument that people will make against the Father's calendar. Every, on months that are 30 days long, you have an extra day. Now, some people keep that as an extra new moon day. Some people just keep it as a day. But nevertheless, new moon day comes the following next day if it's a 30-day month, and life goes on, all right? Now, the reason I brought that up is, yeah, that's a great point somebody just made right there. Guys, I promise now the next part we're doing is 3 months in a row, where you can see 3 consecutive months in a row the Father's calendar failed, like that the Sabbath, because that's so important, because the Roman calendar cannot reproduce the same dates 2 months in a row hardly at all, let alone 3. All right? So, now I want to read you out of the book of Yeshua real quickly. All right? If you don't have an Et Sefer, highly encourage it. It's a great Bible to have. If we read Yeshua chapter 88, begin at 13, and it says, "And Jericho was entirely closed against the children of Israel. No one came out or went in. And it was in the second moon, on the first day of the moon, that Yahuwah said to Yahusha, Rise up, behold, I have gave Jericho into your hand with all the people thereof, and all your fighting men shall go around the city once each day."
Okay, you guys, this is what we're doing. We're going to listen to this all together. Ronnie.d.Mann is going to come in shortly after. He's on the line with us now, having some technical difficulties. And as soon as this nice gentleman is done, we'll get a stopping point, because he and Ronnie are identically on point, because they both go by the word, both of them. And so we're going to listen for a little bit more, and then we're going to have a stopping point, and then we'll pick up from there. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. If you're enjoying it so far, share it out, because when Ronnie gets on here, it's going to be more good stuff to come. All right, here we are.
Thus shall you do for 6 days. And the priest shall blow upon shofar, and when you shall hear the sound of the shofar, all the people shall give a great shouting that the walls of the city fall down. And all the people shall go up, every man against his opponent. And Yahusha did so according to all that Yahuwah had commanded him. And on the 7th day they went around the city 7 times, and the priest blew upon shofar. And at the 7th round Yahuwah said to the people, Shout, for Yahuwah has delivered the whole city into our hands. Only the city and all that it contains shall be accursed to Yahuwah. And guard yourselves from a cursed thing, lest you make the camp of Israel accursed and troubling. And anyway, it goes on down explaining Jericho's walls fell, every man went in and fought, and we all know the rest of the story from Yahusha. This is important. When you put 2 and 2 together, you can see right there very clearly that the battle began on New Moon Day, and with the Father's calendar layout with new moon days, work days, and Sabbaths in their proper categories, that all pans out. All right? Now, something I want to point out to you in the next thing, after guys, by all means, you know. So anyway, guys, by all means, feel free to write this information down, watch it over again if you need to. The next thing I want to point out is the scripture is very clear about new moon days, work days, and Sabbath. There's 3 types of days in the Bible, 3 classifications. Now you say, can I find this in the Word? And can I find multiple witnesses to it? I can prove you that too. All right? The first one we're going to go to is Ezekiel 46:1. All right? Thus says Adonai Yahuwah, the gate of the inner court that looks toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days. But on the Shabbat it shall be open, and in the day of the new moon it shall be open. Right there, that goes to show you that new moon days and Sabbath days are days for worship. Work days are just that, work days, right? All right. Let's see. Right here, I want to point this out too. It says, likewise, the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before Yahuwah in the Sabbaths and in the new moons. Now, you tell me when a Seventh-day Adventist church ever kept a new moon, right? Let me tell you also a story about that. If you will research this, at Andrews University, I found this out when I attended Seventh-day Adventist church, that they were actually going to start keeping the Sabbath by the new moon back when they first started their church. But the deacons decided it was going to be too hard to cite the new moon each month. Sorry, give me just a second. I'll get back to you. Guys, I'll read some of these questions at the very end. Whenever they decided that it was going to be too hard, they were like, you know what, we'll just do it Saturday. And that's seriously, you should look into this stuff, guys. These are things, and that's at Andrews University, information on that. All right, now, Isaiah 66:23 says, and it shall come to pass that from new moon to his new moon, and from Sabbath to his Sabbath, shall all flesh come to worship before me, says Yahuwah. See, these is the thing, guys. We hear a lot of people talk about we need to keep Sabbath, and we need to keep Sabbath. Nobody talks about keeping the Father's new moon. It's just a conversation that's just not had. You know, like our fellowship gets together, we help the homeless on new moon days. You know, that's just how it is. We try to find a way to get together and fellowship and worship on these days. Now, with that said, with that understanding that there's new moon days, work days, and Sabbaths, okay? Work is to be related on these days. New moon days and Sabbaths are days for worship. With that understanding in our toolbox now, what we need to look at is this. I'm going to rip this off because I want a clean slate of this.
And
Nobody
this is where they
talks
get the
about this.
off thing, you guys.
Nobody talks about this in church. It is called, and I'm going to try to write this out the best I possibly can. Fasti, Anti. Let's see. I believe there's another I. Yeah. Mayores. Sorry, guys. I want to make sure to spell this out right. The link is in the video description below so that you can go look this up. Now, listen. This thing still exists. This is the calendar of the Roman Republic. Quick question. Do you all see this? Does this read correctly for you all, or is my words backwards? Guys, if somebody can just drop me a comment, make sure that the way you're viewing that on the screen, it ain't backwards. I know that's a silly question, but I've got the camera. Yes, you can read it. Okay, good deal. All right, so the way that the Roman Republic calendar worked is it was really, really simple. Is you go down through there, and it was A through H, all right? A through H. And I'm serious, when you look at this calendar, the Roman Republic, that's how it was. It was a lunisolar 8-day Roman calendar, all right? Oh, man, my D's terrible there. Sorry. E, F, G, H. All right, so we had 8 days, all right? Now, the pagan Roman priests there would determine these months and stuff, and you can see the calendars that still, the remnants of these calendars that still exist today. The 8th day of the week was a market day, okay? Market day. Now, here's the problem we got to take away from this. Let's play advocate for the Seventh-day Adventist Church or for Saturday, okay? Because everybody pretty much in the way, and then this movement and waking up now has concluded that Sunday is just not the Sabbath. For the most part, a lot of people's come to that realization. So let's say that for the sake of argument, Saturday was the Sabbath, right? How's that going to work out for you in an 8-day Roman calendar? It's not. It's going to float right through that. If you go off just the solar-only calendar today that a lot of people's using for Saturday, and listen, I want to make sure that everybody understands that I'm showing this out of love to everybody. I want people to come together in unity. This ain't to beat up on nobody. This is for education, folks, because we've got to be honest to the truth. Just like flat earth, Father's people, Father's calendar, the Torah, we need to be honest to it all, okay? This right here, that 7-day would float through that. Now, let me complicate the Roman calendar even further. If you're keeping the Father's appointed times, and you keep it by the new moon too, then your Sabbath day is going to float right through it as well. So see, the argument that people make is Saturday's always been the Sabbath, right? Now, that the point in case that I want to make with this first calendar is that Saturday is not even marked on this calendar, okay? It's just A through H. Now, they worship different gods during those days of the week, but this is what you had to work with, all right? And I'm going this far back because Rome is my enemy today. That's my only enemy is Babylon and Rome, okay? I don't see enemies in people. I try to love everybody. But this is our enemy, okay? And Daniel 7:25 has told you this. Now, what you've got to take away from this is that you've always been told now, for probably a long time, that the Sabbath has never changed, all right? Now, if we go to the stick calendar, somebody asked about the stick calendar right away. And I'll tell you why somebody asked about that. It's a nail in the coffin for our modern worship cycles, all right? Stick calendar is real simple. You got this big circle, all right? Now, I hate saying the pagan gods, all right? So, y'all got to bear with me. I just don't like saying pagan deities. So, here's the sun guy, okay? Sun guy. And then we've got y'all ever been to TGI's, that restaurant? All right, so here's that one. And then over here we got the guy with the sieve, SAT day, okay? We got all these false gods on the stick calendar. Now, there's a link to the stick calendar below so that you can actually pull up that website, scroll down it, and look at the example from the Baths of Titus so that it's a lot more clearer aspect for you to understand, all right? So what you do is you look at this calendar, and it's got all these points, right? And the stick calendar pretty much was the guidepost for how people worshipped their false gods in Rome. This was the evolution from the Fasti Antiotis Maioris calendar to the stick calendar, which later became the Planetary week calendar and went forward. Now here's where it gets really crazy, all right? And we have a modern example of this too. I feel like I am doing like one of the whiteboard presentations like Jordan Belfort does, like this straight line. Sorry guys, it just cracks me up seeing some of this stuff, how these people present, and then I catch myself doing it. But this works. This is very easy to break stuff down for people. If you look at this calendar, the rotation of how they worship their gods, when you put it in a line, we're going to do a straight line. We put in a straight line. Here's SUN Day, which starts our week now on the pagan week, and SAT Day, which ends it on the pagan Roman calendar week. Y'all ready for this? Saturn's Day used to be the first day of the week. I mean, I ain't making this up. And Sunday, because sun worship, and you got Constantine in 321 AD, and all this madness, guess what happens? Sunday gets moved to the first day of the week because these godless pagan, they ain't godless because they do worship false god, but they ain't serving Yah. They had to have Sunday worship as their as the predominant day of the week. Head of the week. Now you say, okay, well that don't change things for me. Yes, it does. Because either way you work that equation out, there is a day and time lost. You say, oh, you're stupid, Luke. You're just lost your mind. Check this out. In Samoa, this happened to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, I believe it was in 2011, that everyone decided in that region, man, it'd be great if we could just move the time zone a little bit. We'd be on the same time zone as China. We could do a lot more merchandise trading and sales and etc. You know what happened? It caused such a stink that some of the Seventh-day Adventist church decided to start worshiping on Sunday because they didn't want to mess up with their unbroken chain of Sabbath. They didn't want to mess it up, so they ended up, Seventh-day Adventist church, worshiping on Sunday. Dude, y'all can't make this stuff up, all right? This is exactly what would happen if we were doing, say we were doing Sunday worship. I'm not just trying to beat up on everybody. Let's go with Sunday worship for a minute. So we were worshiping on Sunday, and that used to be the seventh day, right? It gets moved to the first day of the week. Now they've lost a day. This is why we can't deal with this madness of following Rome and the Great Whore Babylon. We got to follow the Father's timepiece in the heavens. It's real simple, folks. You walk out and his clock is always available. I can't overly express this to you, how bad this is, that if you go back into history and you look at just these two calendars, two things are laid out. Sunday was not always the Sabbath. Saturday ain't always been the Sabbath. Saturday for sure has not been the Sabbath since creation. And we got some problems on some calculating because we've lost a day or gained a day. Now, with the time zone move, like in modern day, with the people that's going Seventh-day Adventist church over there in American Samoa, that's got moved. So see, now they're in a pickle. But the problem is because they follow in Rome. That's the problem. All right, this is the problem. All right. Now, the Planetary Week. I want to point out something about this. The Planetary Week, people go and talk a lot about the Planetary Week, right? Now, something that is interesting, and we'll get into this. Sorry, guys, I just want to mark off where I'm at here on my notes so that I don't miss anything. And that link for the American Samoa about the Seventh-day Adventist Church fiasco, I'm adding that in the video description below. He put the counter of sky so no man can tamper with it. Exactly, folks. Exactly. Nailed it. Excellent comment. I seen somebody said Genesis 1:14. We're going to get in that in just a second, too. Now, something I want to point out is because the dispersal of Israel during the diaspora, we've got like the Igbo tribe, the Limba tribe, and all them people still keeping the Father's calendar from the timepiece in the heaven because they haven't had their minds saturated with Rome. All right, so that's important to understand that we still have examples before us today. It's still preserved before us today, and I'm learning more and more every day. And guys, I've been at this a decade now, and more knowledge is still pouring in about this. Eventually, it's going to be indisputable, but in the meantime, this is going to be an issue, growing pains. All right, now, a Planetary Week. As, we see the calendar on the wall today. And it's got all these dates, and they just keep running concurrent. Next month comes, moving right through. Now, the problem with the Planetary Week is now that we know a day has been mixed up in time, at least one day at some point, if we were just saying, I'm picking this day and I'm running with it. Well, we've already seen with the past Roman calendar that time's been moved back and forth, all right? Now, not only that, but as we move forward, they figured out between the Julian and the Gregorian calendar that they were short 10 days. Now, this is something that most people bring up, especially the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They hang on this one. Guys, I can just go on all day long about Seventh-day Adventist Church because I was knee-deep in it. All right? They hang on this one because they say, well, we just went from this date. We'll just say, I can't remember what it was on the calendar. We'll just say we went from the 7th to the 17th. There's our 10 days. We just went right on through. We just put another date on the calendar, kept moving. But, this was M day, and this ends up being TU, the next day on the week there. Tuesday, right? I hate saying pagan days of the week, too, because I know that they refer back to a false god seeds. Just got to work with me through these teaching sessions. The problem with this right here is because we know that time was messed up in the past, and not the Father's time, just Rome's timekeeping, all right? They go different gods, different calendars. They just couldn't get it together, right? Because we know the change up, there's a day swap there. Then they had to refix all this time here, okay? Add 10 days for their poor calendarization right there. Now, then we have the situation forward today, like I said, in American Samoa, where they've moved a day forward there. So, see, them people had to jump ship again. They're like, man, We got to go. We beat up on that Sunday crowd. Now we got to go join them on Sunday worship because they moved the timeline. A man-made time zone on this flat geostationary disk under a firmament when they could have just looked up at the Father's light in the heavens and be like, oh, it's New Moon Day, and just counted off from that. Yeah, now listen, when you go to talk about the Father's calendar, you're going to get thrown out of groups. You're going to get thrown out of church. You're going to get thrown out of your family sometimes. Guys, this is a sore subject for people. And I'll tell you why. Keeping the Father's calendar is one of the hardest things you'll ever do in your life. It affects your family time. It affects your work time. It's hard to do commerce. It's hard to do business. It's because you're following the Father and not the world, because the whole world's following after Rome. Everyone's wandering after the beast and its calendar. Everyone's wandering after the beast and its laws and its teachings and all this Babylonian church houses out there. So this is the situation that you have that you're fighting with. Now, another thing that people will point out to me, yeah, we've been told a lot of lies, guys. And I'll tell you, as time goes, we're probably going to be like, man, I can't believe I was lying about this or that too. Now, something I want to point out, and this one is specifically important, is that, like I said about the tribes, Limba and the Igbo, the Limba, I think it was I was reading about the other day, this PhD, Hutton Webster, has, a publication called Rest Days, and the link's in the video description below. Free publication. That one's, I've got it where you can read it free. If you work for yourself, it's much easier. It's exactly right, guys. I'm trying to follow along with some of the comments that you're dropping here. That is a great resource right there if you're wanting, because I mentioned that in a live video or something recent, guys, about some of the tribes in Africa that is the Father's people that is still keeping his appointed times. You can check that out right there. And I'm going to continue to further try to get you this documentation and information that people's asking about, because if the Father's people in Africa is still doing it after the diaspora, we might want to look at how they're doing things instead of how we've been doing it up in Babylon, or go back to the book itself. And I guarantee you what we're doing out of the book will match with the people if we do it by the Father's calendar above. All right. So next thing, I want to point this out. This is specific to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Is they would say to me, you cannot have a Sabbath in between. It has to be 7 days, then a Sabbath, 7 days, then a Sabbath. Now, for those of us that's waking up to keeping the Father's feast days, looking at Leviticus 23, this one's not a hard one, but I want to point something out. If you look at the sixth moon, all right, sixth moon, I'm going to borrow this here. We're going to do us another straight line across here. If you're drawing a box, I'm going to say this is the 30th day of the sixth moon, okay? Now, the next day is New Moon Day, Feast of Trumpets, right? Sabbath. I'm going to draw a line through when we know there's a Sabbath, all right? Then we're going to go 6 work days, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and then we've got our 7th day rest. Right here's the 8th day of the month. Because we're counting calendar dates, it's always the 8th, 15th, 22nd, 29th days of the month. If you look throughout Scripture, that's where it always lands. And you'll see this in part 2 when I bring that out to you with the 3 months in a row from Exodus and forward. But here we have another Sabbath. All right, so I've got the 29th day was a Sabbath right there in the 6th month. So we have 1, 2, there's 2 Sabbaths already. Then right here we're in the 7th month, there's a Sabbath. Then we got Day of Atonement coming up, right? And then after that we got another Sabbath. So see, this is another issue with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They will fight you tooth and nail on this. They'll be like, it's Sabbath, 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 Sabbath. It's 7, 7, 7, 7. Right here between the 6th month to the next Sabbath on up here, got like 5 Sabbaths, right? I mean, guys, you got to quit listening to these church houses. And I know I'm not the best teacher in the world, but my goodness, we can pick up the word. We can do some simple mathematics. I mean, this ain't Common Core here, okay? That right there's 29th day of the month, Sabbath. And I gave them a grace period and said that it was a 30-day lunation instead of 29. Then New Moon Day, which is day of Feast of Trumpets, there was 2 Sabbaths with a day apart. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're going to hear all this drama from the church house on the way out. They're going to fight you about everything. and you just got to leave. All right, you got to get the word, and you got to get rid of them. All right, now
And you
let
gotta
me make
get
sure
rid
I
of
covered
them.
all that. Like I said, link for the Samoan situation will be put in the video description below. All right, now let me rip this one off. All right. Now, what I want to point out is this right here. Now, let's say that if I was knocked in the head, all of a sudden, then I woke up and I was on a desert island. Now, I have no one around. Now, how do I keep Sabbath? Because the Father is merciful. He is kind to us. He gave us all the opportunity in the world to serve him, okay? Satan's the one who tries to keep us from serving him. So, would it not be plausible that he would put that somewhere where nobody could mess with it, right? That way we could get back to it eventually if it was, it was hidden from us, right? Exodus 12. That's right. Look up. That's the answers, God. Look up for your redemption draweth nigh, right? All we got to do is look up. The Father's calendar set in the firmament. Genesis 1, chapter 1, you look at it. People will point this out that the moon was made on the fourth day. Now, I want to jump forward on a note and then come back to my others. Here's the deal. I don't care if he made it on day 5, day 3, day 1. It don't matter when he made it. Matter of fact, he could have made it after all the creation stuff was done. He said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and drop this in. And I'm not trying to add scripture or take away. I'm making a point here. When you look at the meaning of what it says there, that it was made for appointed times, for moed, right? If you look up in Hebrew what moed means, it means appointed time, place, or meeting. It literally was the guidepost to help find his appointed times, his Sabbaths, his festivals, new moon day, all this. It's right there to be had. If you look in Leviticus chapter 23, you go right down through there looking at all the feasts. The very first one mentioned is Sabbath. And it doesn't say, you do these by this calendar, and then count the Sabbath by another calendar. I haven't found that, and I've read Leviticus 23 a multitude of times, all right? What I have found is these are my feasts, end of discussion, okay? Furthermore, Exodus 12, if people say, well, this doesn't apply or whatever, if you look at Exodus 12, let's just go past creation and say, you know what, we're just going to look past that. What then? Well, Exodus 12, verse 1, we see plainly that Moshe, the Most High God, spoke to Moshe and said, this is the beginning of moons to you. This is the beginning of reinstituting the Father's calendar to his people so that y'all could be a lighthouse to the rest of the nations for those that's waking up as Hebrew Israelites. All right? Because I can't win all my peoples, okay, that's sons of Japheth. They ain't listening to me. Maybe they'll listen to you. Your people ain't listening to you. They listen to me sometimes. So, we got to work together in this thing. Yeah, creation model and calendar seem to be the two big sticking points for most. Guys, why you see me wearing the shirt tonight. I'm trying to support the truth every chance I get. They're going to say anything to keep the traditions. I mean, guys, it's easy doing Sunday and Saturday worship. I'm just being honest with you. It is. Dude, I had a great corporate job. I had an easy pagan life. It was great. Now, I'm telling you, keep Father's calendar is some work, buddy. It's some work. So my thing is, when people say, you look at creation and the moeds and things like that, the appointed times, that was what that thing was created for. Them lights in the firmament were for his appointed times. The day to rule, sun to rule the day, and the moon to rule the night. And yeah, it's very convenient for people, guys. All right. So Leviticus 23 and Exodus 12, we see that right there. Now, the next thing that I want to point out is now, I don't have a link for this one in there yet, but guys, just give me a minute. When this is done, I'll try to throw this one in there too. The New World Calendar is interesting. People have been going on and on about that, the people can't get past the 30th day of the month sometimes. They can't get past that there's a day between the start of the month and that new moon day is its own day, and etc. The thing is, the New World Calendar, if it's instituted, now I don't know if it will or not, but it's interesting to always see wrong because we always need to understand our enemy. If you look at the New World Calendar, Sunday will be the beginning of the month, all right? Now, we can forget about all the rest of the days. These are not of any interest to us, all right? Because Sunday worship is a huge thing. Matter of fact, the Roman Catholic Church says it's their mark of authority. All right? You go fact check that. Listen, don't listen to anything I've said and believe it for face value. You go do your own research. Don't trust the thing I tell you. All right? If you look at the beginning of the quarters within this thing, I believe it's, yeah, they broke it down, I believe, in quarters. And I'll get you the link for this. The thing that was sickening to me is people will mock the Father's servants for keeping his new moon day and his Sabbaths in a row. But yet the New World Calendar is trying to mock you because the 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, 29th day is Sundays on the New World Calendar. Now this is where it gets even more messed up. In the middle of the year, there is a leap day. And at the end of the year, I believe, I forget, it's ever so many years, there's one leap day. Moves from 7. Okay, now that's a great question. All right, let's do this right here. Let's just do this right here to answer that question. Somebody said, so the Sabbath day moves. Here's the deal: it moves in Rome's calendar. That's what you're getting caught up in. And guys, this is the thing. The best way to understand this, well, yeah, it does appear to be moving. We've got to follow y'all. We've got to follow y'all's timepiece. And the thing is if you look at World's Last Chance's calendar app, okay, for the Father's calendar, let's say that on the Roman calendar, okay, that New Moon Day was on the 2nd, we'll say this is March, right? We'll say this is pagan March, and Sunday was the first day of the month, right? So 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and sorry guys, I'm not very good at this. T-Day, W, T-H, F. So, yeah, this will work out great. So, Saturday will be the 7th day of the month on the calendar of March, right? And we're going to say that New Moon Day so happens to be on, let's pick Wednesday, okay? Because right now on the pagan Roman calendar, when I'm doing this, that's when Sabbath would be, right? So, people we'll say that New Moon Day occurred there, all right? Well, you're going to have 4 complete sets of weeks. The Sabbath would appear to be on the pagan Roman Wednesday, right? Now, it floats through the world. Somebody just said what I was saying. It floats through the worldly calendar, right? But now at the end of this month, right, what will happen is when you get to the end of the month, well, it would actually, if that's the 29th, it's going to be on into April at that point. But let's say April 3rd, all right, which would be a Thursday, right? What's going to happen is New Moon Day may occur at the end of the Father's calendar. It may occur on the 29th day of the Father's calendar, and there you go. The next day would be New Moon Day. Well, that just so happened to be the 3rd on the pagan Roman calendar of April. So it's going to be Sabbaths for 4 weeks on Thursdays. And this confuses people because people's like, your Sabbath's always moving. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, the Roman calendar is completely solar. So what do you want me to do about it? You know, Islam uses a lunar calendar without the sun. You know, I'm sorry that my calendar don't work with you because I actually use the Father's calendar and implement it correctly. You know, and that's the thing, guys, is this Roman calendar, because we live in Babylon and we're trying to do the Father's calendar, this is confusing to people because it's like, dude, your Sabbath was last week on Monday, and now this coming next week, it's going to be on Tuesday. It's like, yeah, bro, because new moon happened, and it's a new month. For me, for you, you still up and Rome, all right? And people can't hit the disconnect. Now, the great thing about this, and why I'm stopping right here tonight, is because I want you people to actually do your due diligence and go study what I've explained to you already. The fast, the Untitled, the stick calendar, etc. Now, the thing is with the Father's calendar, this is what's going to be up in part 3. With the Roman calendar, we have a problem. You cannot have the same dates in box 1, in box 2, and box 3. I believe it's in a leap year. Sorry, guys, that light is so bright that I put up tonight. It is just, I feel like I'm at the beach. You can have 2 months in a row, but you cannot have 3. And like I said, that I believe that requires a leap year too. Now, here's the important thing to learn from this. When we look at the Father's calendar, and world/chance.com has like an 8-part video series about this, guys. I mean, like, they go deep to the foundations, all right? If you look in this situation in Scripture, when they came out of Egypt, Mitzrayim, on the 15th day of the month by night, and I'm going to touch on this just barely, okay? Then we have the manna and the mountain. When you have these situations where that we have calendar dates that are the same dates for 3 months in a row, guess what, brother or sister that's watching? You ain't on Rome's time no more. You on Father Yah's time. And we got to let Saturday go. We've got to let Sunday go. We've got to let the Julian calendar go and the Gregorian calendar go, and the stick calendar go, and the Fastiantiati Morons. We got to let all this mess go. And we got to get back to the Father's calendar. Now, somebody asked this question a second ago, and I'm going to answer this one right here, and then we're going to cut teaching session for tonight. This is going to be part 1 done for tonight, and then I'll do part 2 next preparation day before Sabbath. We'll go over this 3 months in a row. But now what I want to do is use the same illustration here to answer somebody's question, because it is a very valid question. The 30th day. Months are either 29 days or 30 days long. All right? And the thing about it is that 30th day. Now, some people, let's say this month was a 30th day, right? Before the next lunation. Now, dawn after conjunction is when I keep New Moon Day. Some people wait till the first visibility and then they keep New Moon Day. I ain't arguing with anybody on that, okay? But the thing about it is after you see the first light starting to restore on that, and we'll get into that later with the book of Hanok, how it explains how that the month begins again, because it says when it's dark, all the light's going out. That's the end of the month. We'll get into the chapters in Hanok in future. But people get hung up on this 30th day. Some people will call it a translation day. Some people may keep it as an additional new moon day. It just varies how the people look at it. But here's the deal, guys. If a month is 29 days long, the very next day after the 4th Sabbath is going to be New Moon Day. If it's 30 days long, the next day after the 30th day will be New Moon Day. It is just a 1-day variance. Now, you got to understand that people look at that and they say, well, that's too many days between Sabbath. But the problem that people can't get past, and I don't know how to reach them, is that New Moon Day restarts the month. Period. I believe it's in the book of Luke. It talks about it. It says, and it was the 2nd Sabbath. And it's like, how would you say that? Like, people go to Seventh-day Adventist church, I'm like, yeah, I'll see you next Sabbath. See you next Sabbath. But, like, it was specifically mentioned the 2nd Sabbath. I'm like, because it was the middle of the month. And that's interesting, guys, because if you look back, the 3 biggest arguments that go on in this day is the Father's appointed times, His people, and His calendar. And do you know why this is such a huge argument? And I'm going to bring this up in a future video too. Is because somebody said it's Luke 6 verse 1. Here's the thing. If you look back and you were living in the day of HaMashiach, all right, when Mashiach was walking on this earth teaching and seeing people won for the kingdom and helping save souls and help bring in the lost sheep of Israel, nobody was asking, was he a white man? Was he black? Is a white man Esau? Or, oh, no. That's this way and that's that way. Nobody was having these conversations. So New Moon is the beginning of a new month. Yes, exactly. And nobody was having this conversation. Do we live on a globe or do we live on a flat earth? I mean, because people was very clear and understood that Nimrod tried to go up through the dome. All right. And the other thing, his Sabbath is a sign between him and his children. That's right, too. And the other thing is nobody was having a conversation about when Sabbath was, because there was still an established people. There was still a priesthood. Everybody knew the Father's calendar. All right. And so these 3 topics, That's why we got to be having these conversations, is because all that was taken away from us. You know, everybody's tried. You can look on 1700s map now. It says Negro land, and look right down there. It says Kingdom of Judah, and that's where the slave coast is. So, like, we can see where the children of Israel went through Deuteronomy 28 and was scattered throughout the nations. You know, we start to look at NASA now. We can tell they're lying about the flat Earth. I mean, guys, that's why we're having to dig deep nowadays, because all these important pillars of truth have been hidden from us. All right. But now next week in part 2, we're going to be going over 3 months in a row. The reason I'm making this a section all to itself is because we're going to deep dive in Scripture, because dates are important, because like the 15th day by night, they came out of the land of Mitzrayim. All right. And as you move forward, you will see, boom, 15, boom, 15. That's important. You know, we can get all those dates in line, because if we can establish 3 sets of months with 3 sets of consecutive dates, we cannot use the Roman calendar. So let me help you break that down at TKO punch. That's a number 1 with the Fastiantiatis. As a number 2 with the stick calendar with days being moved. And behind me there, with 3 months in a row, you can't find that on the Roman calendar either. So, boom, 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 and it's a Tyson knockout. All right, so hope that's been a help to everybody tonight. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not taken your red pill, stop by and get you one. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to set my stuff to the side, guys. Like I said, I hope that's been a help. Next week, we will have the 3 months in a row going. And with that said, I'm going to sit down here and take a look at some of these comments back. And if anybody wants to comment, I'm going to stick around for, I don't know, we can kick it for 20, 30 minutes here and see what's going on. But give me just like 2 or 3 minutes to scroll back, because y'all have blowed it up with comments tonight. All right, yeah, we covered that. What'd somebody say? A class of Bible dropouts on this channel. Jeez. These days. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, you can't beat some of this stuff in people's heads, guys. It's got to be revealed by the Most High Yah. It's the only way it can be understood. I don't think it's given to some people to understand. Yeah, somebody asked that question. Wasn't Saturday for a time the first day of the week? Yes, guys, you can check this stuff out. You're not going to be told this in church. You're going to have to study this out. That's why that, you know, if court's adjourned for this evening, that's why I made my presentation, because, you know, as if I was standing in the courtroom of the Most High Yah right now. This is what I had to give. Let me see. Yep, right there. Rome calls this calendar their mark. That's right. And last time I checked, guys, it said that he calls all, both from small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, take a mark. They keeping us out. They told me I knew. Jeez Louise. Guys, you'll be rejected for this truth. Just hang in there. Hey, thank you for the $5 super chat somebody just dropped. I'll read your comment just a second. Any tells you this is correct how it works. Yeah, Book of Hanok, man. We're going to enjoy that one coming up. Have any guesses? Let's see. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. You just hurting my ears. There's his link in the description if you guys want to grab that.
Yeah, guys, I encourage a lot of you to rewatch this and write it down. Because I'm telling you, it took me a long time to write all this down and memorize this. Because I'm going to tell you, you're gonna have to fight with people to stand up for your truth. I'm telling you. I'll share with my mom a 7th-day Adventist. Now, listen, I'm going to tell y'all about speaking with your family members in just a second. Daughter of the Most High Yah, thank you, hon, for the donation. I didn't see you leave a comment, but I appreciate that. Here's the deal, guys. I'm going to tell you all this real quickly, and then I'll get the 7th-day Adventist thing. Please keep me in your prayers, because now I'm reaching out to people for speakers for the Restoring the Foundations conference that I'm going to try to get going at in the late spring or early summer, and that's the hope for that. So just bear with me. Now, the thing is, with sharing stuff with Seventh-day Adventists. Now, I got to tell you something. There is some serious backlash that you will take whenever you share this with people. Thank you, hon. Love you, sis. Do I have Cash App? Yes, I do have Cash App, guys. Have Cash App. I can just shoot me an email or something at 7trumpetsprepper@gmail.com, and I can send you my thing on that. But the thing is, and guys, now the first speaker, I've got some speakers and lining up. And I've already talked to Ronald Dalton. He's going to be talking about the Hebrews as long as I can just get the dates and everything square. I'm going to Knoxville the end of this week on the pagan Roman calendar. What is today? Today is W Day. On F Day, I'm going to look at some venues and stuff. So just pray for me, because man, these people they will just clean your wallet out. Like all you want is like 4 or 5 hours, and they're like, "Hey, $7,000." I'm like, do you know how much work I have to do on a roof putting solar panels to make $7,000? And all y'all doing is opening the door, letting people come in and butt warm your seats, and you want $7,000? Have you lost your mind? I mean, like, that's what's killing me on this stuff. So just bear with me. That's the big thing, because the biggest thing for inviting people is I just feel like that whenever you host people, like tomorrow we're getting together for fellowship for Sabbath tomorrow at a structure we've got for fellowship now, and it's like try our best to provide a free place for people. I mean, it ain't the greatest place in the world, but at least it can seat 40 people right now. And my thing is when you invite people to speak, I don't want speakers to have to pay a dime for going anywhere. And I don't want nobody to be charged to come and hear the word. That's my two big things. So, I'm just trusting the Most High will work it out. I'm just quit stressing about this stuff. I'm just going to quit stressing about stuff. I was worried to death whenever I went up to go help Ron that there'd be something terrible happen. There'd be a blizzard or something. Man, they were talking about it while I was up there helping him on that documentary thing he's working on. There wasn't a bit of snow on the ground. It was perfect weather. It was just cold. But, it wasn't normal, and it's just like Most High always make a way. So anyway, to answer the lady that asked about the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now I'm going to tell you, I used to be a active participant in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Guys, when I left Sunday church, dude, I'm telling you what, I jumped in the trenches with the Seventh-day Adventist Church knee deep. Yeah, I don't know. For Tabernacles, guys, we could do something up here at the National Park and everybody just come up and camp, have a great fellowship. I know Brother Joel and some of the guys have done that stuff in the past. It's good times. But, the thing is with Seventh-day Adventists, they are hardcore, hardcore locked into Ellen White and, all this stuff. Guys, give me just a second, look at the time signature, and I'll come back. The thing with going there is they just not going to budge. The Seventh-day Adventist Church, Saturday Sabbath is one of their fundamental foundational pillars. And on top of it, hidden at Andrews University is the truth about the lunar Sabbath and the new moon and how to keep the Father's appointed times. These people were not ignorant. I'm telling you, like, I had one of the biggest throwdown. Now, that's a great question somebody brought up right there about new moon, full moon. I'll come back to that in a second. A lot of people keep full moon. Now, listen, I have brothers and sisters I love. I'm talking, I'd take a bullet for them. And they start the month from the full moon. Guys, I can't get there from here. Ain't no disrespect to them. I love them. I hope we all make it in the kingdom. But now, I have no issue with people that start with the first visible sighting, or they start their count from dawn after conjunction, because light is starting to be restored. The reason I do it from dawn after conjunction anymore is because that's when the first light's starting to be restored. Because if you read in the book of Enoch, I believe it's in chapter 76 or 78, or maybe 74. Don't quote me on this off the top of my head. It's in one of those chapters. Somebody said started that and then went to, I guess, dawn after conjunction. But the thing is if you look in the book of Enoch, it is very clear that when all the light is gone out of her, that's the end of the month. That's the end of that lunation. It's done. And now people will reject the book of Enoch. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't reject the book of Enoch, the book of Yeshar. I literally backed up the book of Joshua tonight with the book of Yeshar. Right there, somebody said new moon's the first sighting of the crescent. Now, guys, here's the thing. I ain't going to argue with you. I used to do it the first sighting after, or the first after seeing the first sighting. I'm not going to argue with you guys. I'm not. And another thing that is interesting is for people to keep dawn after conjunction, is that a lot of times it will line up with people that is doing the first visible crescent. It usually sometimes will both be on the same timetable. Just saying. But here's the thing. This is why I look forward to the Most High Yah coming back and Hamashiach sitting on the throne. Because he will say when the time is to worship. Where to be, and you best be there. All right? Because like Zechariah 14, you don't show up Feast of Tabernacles, your land ain't getting no rain. And, it's just how it is. And, if we go off of just the simple principle that we have the light starting to go back in the moon the next day, we keep new moon day, count off 6 work days, and then a Sabbath, 6 work days, Sabbath, 6 work days, Sabbath, 6 work days, Sabbath. You get those 4 weeks in, and then a new moon. Guys, I'll tell you what's interesting. If you go up and look at the end of the Sabbaths on each week, right, you see the 4 quarter, you see a quarter and the full moon, and then the last quarter, and then the last sliver sometimes, depending on if it's 29th, 3rd day month. Guys, it is simple clockwork. And if you look at the moon like the hour hand on a clock and the sun like the minute hand, and you look at this world as a flat geostationary disk, and you look at that like a clock turned flat, it just gets cleared up really quickly. And that's the thing. I just wish people. I'm so sorry, guys. I am just thirsty to death tonight. But that's the thing. All right. I guess there's conversation going on there on the side. But guys, if you got any questions or anything, just let me know. I've got, I don't know, probably 10, 15 more minutes before. I don't know exactly why YouTube cuts me sometimes. But it seems like when I get to an hour and 30 minutes, I'd actually seen an auto process one time, and I don't know if they're limited to me to that time frame or what the deal. But now I know. Welcome to 7 Trumpets Prepper, and to this very important and very special video that I'm doing covering who the true biblical Hebrews are. First off, I want to say, as if the warning at the beginning of the video wasn't enough, I want to make sure and reiterate this, that I'm not a racist person, nor am I a person that hates certain individuals. I love all of humanity. I want to see all of humanity making the new kingdom. But nevertheless, there is true Hebrews. There is a true people of the Most High that is scattered throughout the nations of the earth this day. It is not whom that many people believe they are, such as the so-called Jews in the nation-state of Israel that we so see before us right now. I would interject that the true biblical Hebrews are the so-called African-American people that are scattered abroad throughout the world. Now, I will show you through a mass amount of evidence that I'll put up on the screen right here, verses below, and you can do your due diligence and research these things out to see if they be so. It is very important that you understand who the true Hebrews are, because that end-time prophecy, lots of it, surround these individuals. I am a Gentile. I know exactly who I am, but it seems to be the one group of people in the world that have been, by the rest of the world, tried to be dumbed down to the fact or completely erase their history from history, is the African American people, so-called, that are scattered throughout the nations. Now, please understand that not every single black person is a true Hebrew.
but it is those that are under the curse of Deuteronomy 28. And you'll be able to tell by the time that I'm done giving you this information in this video who the true Hebrews are, and you may be one of them. So let's begin. In the early pictures that you would see depicted in worship places, churches, and things of this nature, as you can see right here in this image right here, and others that I'll continue to put up, that Messiah was depicted as a black person, an African American person. And this is totally different to what we see as Roman Catholicism was further introduced and spread abroad throughout the world. We always see a white Caucasian Messiah being depicted. And I want to reiterate throughout this that I'm not being racist. I love every single person in humanity. It's very important we know who the true Hebrews are. And anyway, as time progressed, though, these paintings and the depictions went from the black African American features to a more Caucasian white feature. And this wasn't done overnight. This was a slow sifting process as to what we have today. Now in every church house and on their walls we see a white Messiah. And this could not be further from the truth. Now I'll put links in the bottom of the video description where you can go see a lot of these abroad on the internet. And I encourage you to research Google because there's so many remaining artifacts of this from centuries before. As we move forward, there is, after Noah come off the ark, and the sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Ham is a guidepost that we can use to help us find the true Hebrews, because the sons of Ham, the true Hebrew Israelites, always blended with the sons of Ham. And I'll give you many examples of this. As we read in Genesis 10, it gives the genealogy, and so we can see the beginning of the division of people. But the Egyptians come from their father Ham. In Palestine, if you look at some of the people that are descendants from long ago, they're black. Although we have other people of ethnic background moved into Palestine today, the people that intermingled with the true Hebrews, the Palestinians, many of them are black. And that is from generations back. Not only this, but the scripture states that in Amos 9 and 7 that the Hebrews are like the Ethiopian to him. If we look in Ethiopia, I find that most people have no problem understanding that the people there are of black African nature. Now, the sons of Ham, though, as we find in the scripture, we can see that Joseph blended with the sons of Ham, because whenever his other brothers came to receive goods and merchandise to take back to help their family, they did not know that it was Ham. Now this could have not went down if he was another ethnic background, whatever color that may be, to blend with the black African American Egyptian at that time. I'm sorry, they're not American at all, but the black African Egyptian. Okay, so Moses, and make sure to read the scripture as well. Moses blended with the sons of Ham, the Egyptians, because he passed as their own people. We can find this recorded in Scripture. In Acts chapter 21, we find Shaul, Paul, passed as a Egyptian, and was asked this because he spoke Greek. If a man spoke Greek and he was Caucasian color as me, the Roman soldier may have just thought, hey, he's a Greek. But he had to ask him because the ethnic color. Yahushua fled into Egypt. His mother and father took him into the land of Egypt whenever Herod sought his life. Therefore, these people were able to blend and, look the same. This is so important to understand.
Well, I want to thank you guys. Ronnie is here, and we have enjoyed Seven Trumpets Prepper. When I got into the truth, he was one of the first people that I actually watched, and I've been subscribed to his channel for several years. And then obviously Ronnie, but Ronnie is like, I I liken him unto Gamaliel. because I appreciate all that he's poured into me. And so, with that said, we're going to let Ronnie go ahead and get right into it. That would be the only other person that I would ever share on this channel with regards to truth because he is so learned. And and because I know that Yah led me to his channel in the very beginning, many, many years ago. And the fact that we can study and look at these days, these feast days, and the Sabbath and all of that good stuff, and trust it from the Word and study it on our own to confirm what we've heard is just a blessing when it all lines up. So Ronnie, thank you. I'm so glad your equipment is working.
Oh man, I had some issues, but yeah, I'm glad that it all worked out. This is a very very important topic, and what's interesting is you played what was it seven
Seven trumpets
seven
prepper.
trumpets prepper. So
Yes.
you played his I guess mini teaching on
Yes. Yes.
what's going on with the lunar cycle
Mm-hmm.
in conjunction or in concordance with the biblical calendar, the
Correct.
actual real calendar of Yah. And
Mm-hmm.
I have never ever been in 100% agreement in everything that somebody has talked about with what he was saying. And
Yeah.
I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
no, seriously,
Mm-hmm.
I've
Mm-hmm.
been uh seeking this truth out and then actually trying to act it out in my everyday life for a long time, and I've always had a bone to pick with at least one point that somebody has said.
Mm-hmm.
um my man was on it. My man was
Okay.
on it. So I hope when you heard what he said that it registered with you or it piqued some interests and causes you to go and further investigate so we can get to the bottom of the lie and really see how deep this lie is so we can get rid of it and come into the truth of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Most High. Yeah.
And for me, he's like one of the only other people other than you and I, and my brother Lee, that actually agree on actually every point, to include the Earth. And my philosophy about the Earth comes from Enoch, because I was able to see something in Enoch while reading it that solidified what I thought. That, as well as Genesis, where it talks about dividing the waters from the water. And I'm like, wait a minute, how can you divide? Oh, wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute. And then to prove the point, I think it was SpaceX did a thing where they had this weird looking thing that went up in the sky. Everybody thought that it was a UFO, but it wasn't. It was Elon Musk attempting to put something up in the sky one year, about 4 years ago, in California. And when he did that, you could look at the recording, the tape, and when this thing touched a top point, it rippled back exactly like water. And I said, oh boy. So he and I agree with all, I mean, there's nothing I've ever disagreed with him on. And I thank the Most High Yah for that. And so when we had the computer glitch and then the time glitch and all this other stuff, I was like, what do I do? But I had to make sure that it was somebody's sound. So, yes, so Seven Trumpets Prepper, all of his information is in the description box right now down below. While we were watching that, I was over on the other side working like a little busy bee and pulling all of his stuff together to include his website. There's also the video that we were watching, not the one that I rolled over into, but the one that we were watching with regards to getting into the calendar. So go ahead,
Right.
Ronnie.
No, well, namely, one point of that is noteworthy. What he was saying is that he specifically uses the dawn after the conjunction as the new moon day, and I understand his logic in doing that. The thing is about I understand it is that his logic is actually quite sound, um, because as soon as the conjunction is over, like the conjunction is what, I don't know, a couple, it's a space of time, maybe a minute or two, 5 minutes, you know what I mean? It's when the moon and the
Yeah.
sun
are exactly
Mm-hmm.
basically overlapping each
One
other.
another. Yep.
You're right,
Yep.
superimposing each other, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that only happens because they're passing by each other.
Yep.
So that only happens for a moment of time, and then right after that, you get that first sliver. So I understand that the logic in using the dawn after the conjunction moon as being the new moon day, because logically there is a sliver there. The only point that I have to contend with that is that the scripture doesn't tell you that. What the scripture says is to observe the new moon.
Yeah.
And so when it says observe, that actually literally means you have to put your eyeballs on it. You
Put your
have to
eyeballs on it.
you have to see it. You have to see it. And the first dawn, or that evening where the conjunction is, you're not necessary. It's so faint that you may not see it. You're not going to see
You're not going to see it
the
all the
light of
time.
a lunation
Yeah.
until it's about. I'm round abouting, because it all depends on if it's a perfectly crispy clear night and all of these things
Which
and
we've not
completely
had
dark.
many of.
But it depends. About 3%. You're not going to see the moon with the naked eye, if you will, until about 3% lunation, give or take. And then depending on the circumstance, depending on the climate and the the circumstances of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
But rounding about 3%, and that's not going to happen, or you're not going to see with your eyes, with your naked eye, till about 3%, and that's not going to always be on the dawn, on the very next dawn after the conjunction moon. So the scriptures say to observe it, which means you actually have to see
Look
it
up.
with your
Yeah.
physical, physically see it with your eyes. So they're taking one step further, um, and they're using logic. There's wisdom in that. But however, um, I'm just I implore us to look into the issue
Mm-hmm.
and make a decision based on the words that Yah himself has left us,
Hallelujah.
not people's interpretation or
Hallelujah.
uh, understanding, as logical as it may be. So
Well, we're going to open it up now, you guys. We're going to
yeah,
open it up to questions. So type away, type away, type away. Ask all and any of the questions that you want. Tomorrow is our Sabbat. And so we want to make sure that everybody is clear and that if you have any questions, don't hesitate. So I don't know,
and
you
that
guys go ahead,
and
Ronnie.
that's why I came up. That's why I came up here, because well, we came up here because we were going to come up here, but but I mean, but that's why that I really wanted, to have somebody ask a couple questions, and let's break this thing down, because this is the actual calendar. This is the actual time when people say, do you know what time it is? Do you, or do you know what time it is based on what Rome has told us, or do you really
Know
know the
what time
time?
it is. Well, Lady
Yeah,
M has a question, and
yeah.
she says, "Question: Some say Jesus, yes, Yeshua,
Hmm.
Yahushua,
Hmm.
Messiah.
Hmm.
Any thoughts on how I might call our Lord?"
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I will forthright say all of those sound good. Um, his name is not Jesus. I'll say I'll say that his name is not Jesus, and I'm being extremely forward, but I can qualify that. Yeshua is a word that they're all morphs of one word, and that ancient word is Yahweh Shah. That ancient word is Yahweh Shah. The Aramaic took precedence over the Hebrew. Um, as time progressed, and then so shorthand it became Yahusha, or even Yeshua. Even it just depends on who's writing it, what um, what time frame it was in. Was it 2,000 years ago? Was it 2,500 years ago? Was it 3,000 years ago? Um, what How they were versed, if the scribe was actually writing shorthand or not when he jotted it down. um so you can see a lot of different. I'm talking about in the Hebrew. When you're looking at the quote unquote Old Testament, you can see a lot of or a few different variations of spelling. There is Yahushua, and there is Yahusha, and there is Yeshua, even Yeshua. But now we're diving into the Greek iterations of the Roman. So
Yes.
the Greek
Of
I'm
the
sorry, the
Hebrew.
Roman iterations of
The
the
Hebrew.
Greek of the iterations
Of
of
the Greek
the
turning
Roman.
around to say
Exactly.
to do the Hebrew. Yes.
So we're talking about three transliterations later. But if you go back to source, which is the Hebrew, you can call him Yeshua, you can call him Yahushua, you can call him, even in the modern terminology with the modern Hebrew, they change that W, that which is a Y, they change that to a O. So some people say Yehoshua, some people say you know, uh it all depends. But so it's what you do your research. Do your research. This is what I do. I look back to the Torah, which is the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the scriptures, and I seen how either Moses or Moses' scribe or whoever it was that wrote down Moses' words, how he spelt out Joshua's name, because Joshua is the English iteration of who we call Jesus. Jesus isn't the English translation of Yahweh Shai. Um, Joshua is the English translation of Yahweh Shai. And
Mm-hmm.
Moses' right hand man was Joshua. And when he became his right hand man, that Joshua was Moses' minister. Um, Read it. It's in Exodus.
Do you see the screen also? Because we have another question too.
Okay. Well.
Whenever
Well.
you get
Well.
a
Well.
chance.
Well. Uh, no. Let me pull it up.
I knew you couldn't see the screen. That's why I
Yeah, it is.
interjected.
Yeah, it is. No, but yeah, no, no. So when Joshua became Moses's minister, when they went on this exodus into the wilderness for 40 years, he changed his name. He put Yah in front of it. He said, "Your name is your name is." See, the actual root of that word is Hosea. So his name was Hawashah. His name was Hawashah. He said, "I'm gonna put, since we're serving Yah, I'm gonna put Yah in front of your name, and now it's Yah Hawashah." And he spelt it, and how he spelt it, when you transliterate that spelling from the Hebrew directly into the English today, it's pronounced Yahawashah. And that's why I call him Yahweh Shah, because I'm going back to source. I'm going back to the very first iteration of the word. But you can say Yahushua, you can say Yahusha, you can say Yahweh Shah. You know what I'm saying? You can say some people that Ion is the letter at the very end of his name. It's a form of an A. It's called an Ion, or in the modern tongue, the Hebrew tongue, they call it an Ain. So that can be pronounced as an I. So some people say Yahweh Shai. However, it's how you do your due diligence in the research and what you come up with. It's a lot easier modernly to just say Yeshua. Everybody understands who Yeshua is. But I will be blunt. His name is not Jesus.
Well,
If
thank
anything,
you.
it's Joshua.
if Before you take the other, right before we answer Sarah Brown's question, Poppy Love, I know that he is in the Tennessee area, and by he I mean Seven Trumpets Prepper. Won't you look down inside of the comment box or in the description? Pull his information and see if you can find a location. I know I heard him mention on several occasions that they meet somewhere in that area, not knowing if it's Nashville, because I know Tennessee is really large. I'm in the Tennessee Valley myself. I'm not in Tennessee, but I'm in what's called the Tennessee Valley in Alabama. So what I would do is I would go down in the box and I would look, and you would be able to reach out to him and find out if he has something or if he knows another ministry that you could meet with. I hope that helps. Now, Sarah Brown asks a question. She said, so once you see the sliver, the next dawn is the Sabbat?
before I touch on it, I just want to say something. You can tell, like that is an awesome question. That's an awesome question. It's like when you're getting it, even though you don't get it, you know someone's getting it by the questions they ask, and that's it's so appropriate, and it's that is the question to ask. Um, yes, yes. So this is so I'll just give you a crude. I wish we could do an illustration, or I would like if we were
Well, you
able to
get
do
your
an illustration.
whiteboard. Get your whiteboard.
Yeah, I need to get a
Yeah, get your
whiteboard.
whiteboard.
Y'all don't want me messing up the whiteboard. Just
You better get that whiteboard. I'm going to challenge you to get that whiteboard because somebody else mentioned, gee, it's so good with a whiteboard. Yeah, I think it is. And I
yeah,
think that when you're doing these kind of illustrations, especially when we're getting into this type of stuff,
yeah.
it does
You do need
help.
it. You need
Yeah, it
because there's a
does.
lot of conflation with the Roman calendar because that is our reference point. So we
Mm-hmm.
always go back to the Roman calendar, even if you know that you shouldn't, or maybe if you have realized that you don't want to, but that's the reference point. So
Yeah,
you're
and it
immediately
gets
going back
comfortable.
there.
Yeah, some people
Um,
feel more comfortable with what they know.
but let's
Yeah,
just do a crude quote unquote visualization,
about the sliver.
a mental visualization. Yes.
Okay,
So
okay.
tonight, for example, is a full moon. That lets you know that tomorrow is Shabbat. Tomorrow is Shabbat. Tomorrow is the second Shabbat, is the 15th day of the eighth biblical month. And so that means 2 weeks ago, there was a new moon. So when you see that first sliver, that evening, that night, you see that sliver, you automatically know that tomorrow is the first day of the actual real for real month. When you see the first sliver. Now, I mean, yeah, there's a qualifier to that because there might have been the first sliver last night, you just didn't see it. So you have to have like-minded people around you and have this discussion. We don't really have a whole lot of like-minded people on this, caliber at this level or what have you, this level of understanding
And I
or
think
trying
that's
to
why it
gain.
was so new for me when I heard you and when I heard him teaching the way that you guys do. It just took me aback, and I was just like glue, just like glue. Teaching on that caliber, not just yelling and all that stuff. The moon units.
But but we can come to an understanding. We can come to an understanding. So to figure this thing out, but we have to be accurate. Like we have to start out accurately, and then we can go ahead and work it out. So to answer the question blatantly, yes, when you see that sliver, if that's the first sliver, if that is the first sliver of the new moon, of course you'll see it that evening, and then automatically oh, tomorrow is new moon day, and new moon day is day one of the next month of said month. So tomorrow is day one. I mean, it's not, but I mean, if we saw a sliver tonight, right now, everybody's on one accord. Oh, tomorrow is going to be day one of such and such month. Okay, so tomorrow, when that comes, tomorrow is new moon day, and it's the first day of the month, new moon day. So what it seems like is that the Sabbath moves around on the calendar. Sometimes it's Tuesday, and then next month it's going to be Wednesday, and then next month after that it's going to be Thursday. Next month after that it's going to be Saturday. What's going on? But it's really not moving around. It seems like it's moving around because our reference point is the Roman calendar, and the days of the week are fixated on a Roman calendar. And this is conceptually, this is what we have grown accustomed to. We were born into this concept, so we think that is, or that
That's the standard.
is right,
Yeah.
and we think that has always been, but that has not always been. In actuality, the days are not fixated to the week, because the days don't rule the week. It's the other way around. The sun and the moon rule the days and the night. The days and the night don't dictate the time. It's the I hope that
That's a
made sense.
no, that makes a lot of sense. I think the best way that I can figure it now that I'm like looking at it, is the fact that it's the moon. when the moon does thus, it's this. When the moon does that, it's this. When the moon does this, it's that. So for us now, we're thinking when Saturday leaves, the next day, Sunday, is the first of the week. And when after Sunday, then it's Monday, and then it's this. You have to put your mind in the mindset of when the moon is here, this is what it means. When I see this moon, this is what it means. When I see that moon, this is what it means. Oh, didn't see it? Wait tomorrow night. Oh, there it is. This is what it means. Because there are provisions made in the word specifically for, well, what if I didn't see the sliver that night? Some nights there's no sliver, then what do? You go out the next night, you look again, you're going to see the sliver. It's automatic, actually, because it's going to show up. So it's just a matter of remembering those numbers of the days, okay?
Yeah,
And
so that's what I want to hone in on real quick.
Yeah, go.
So tomorrow is the first day. I mean, it's not. Tomorrow is actually the 15th day, as the time of this live stream. Tomorrow is the 15th day of the 8th
And
biblical
today is
month.
Wednesday,
But
October 21st by their calendar.
right. But in the hypothetical concept, what's going on? Like, if tomorrow was day one of a certain, say tomorrow's day one of the first month. And how do we know that? Because we're looking at the sky right now and we're like, wow, there's a sliver in the sky. So tomorrow is day one of the first month, hypothetically. So that's new moon day, and that is a type of Sabbath. There are instructions that you are supposed to do. We worship actually on new moon day. Ezekiel 46, I'll let you know. Isaiah 66 as well speaks on it. But Ezekiel 46, it gives you the instructions. But okay, so that's day one. We're worshiping. It is a set apart day. It is a Shabbat. It's a type of Shabbat. So that means on day two, so day one, we're resting. Day one, starting off new moon day, is a rest day. Day two starts your 6-day count for work days, for the 6-day work days. So day two is like quote unquote Monday. If I'm using that as a okay,
no,
good.
That makes sense.
See, that's confusing to me because I'm not, but I'm trying to use a reference that people are familiar with. Yeah. So day two would be like Monday, the start of the quote unquote work week. But that's not true. That's just a reference. Like, we have to get out of that mindset. But since everybody understands that, I'm using that as an example. But we're going to have to get out of that mindset, because we can't use the Roman calendar as the gold standard, because it's not. They just they're perpetrating like it is, and we've grown accustomed to it. But that is a mark. We're marked by the beastly system.
More questions in the chat. Come on with it. Questions.
So look, so you're having 6 days, and then on the 8th day is going to be, on the 8th day of the biblical month is going to be the Sabbath again, and that's 7 days later. So this is what's going on. The first day, the 8th day, take notes. The first day, the 8th day, the 15th day, the 22nd day, and the 29th day are always Sabbaths. Always Sabbaths. So in actuality, the Sabbath does not jump around on the calendar. The Sabbath is always new moon Sabbath on the first, and then the 4 Sabbaths of that particular month are always on the 8th day, the 15th day, the 22nd day, and the 29th day.
That's what I was saying. I picked that part up now. That part I can do that.
I'm gonna say that again. I might say it twice. So the first day is new moon day, and that's a Sabbath, and then following suit, you have, the quote unquote 7-day, the 7-day interval or whatever. It's called, we call it a week in the English, but in the Hebrew, it's called a Sabbaton. So the Sabbaton is a week late, a Sabbaton later. It's the 8th. That's the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. The first Sabbath, the second Sabbath, the third Sabbath, the fourth Sabbath of the month is respectively the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. So the 8th That's the first Sabbath of the month. The night before, when you look up at the sky, the moon is going to be a half a moon. It's going to be exactly half of a waxing crescent moon, of a waxing moon. Or what's it called? A gibbous? I think they call it a gibbous.
Mhm.
But it's going to be exactly half that evening, and then that lets you know on the seventh day at even of the biblical month, the moon is going to be exactly half. Tomorrow is your first Sabbath. Then you're going to go through a Sabbaton, a 7-day interval again, and then it's going to Sabbath is going to be on the 15th day. That evening before the 15th day, the 14th day of the month, at the evening when you look up at the sky, it's going to be a full moon. It's going to be a full moon. That lets you know tomorrow is Sabbath. And then 7-day interval again. And you're resting. You're clearly resting on these days. And then you go through a 6-day work Sabbaton again, a work, quote unquote, work week. And then you arrive on the 22nd day of the month. And when you look up at the sky the night before on the 21st even, you're going to see an exact half of the moon again, except for it's going to be waning. It's going to be on the other side. It's gonna be half, the other way, because now it's decreasing in its light. And then that's how you know tomorrow is Shabbat. And now that is the third Shabbat of the biblical month. And then you go through a 7-day interval again. And then when you when you get to the 29th day of the month, that is your Sabbath again. When you look up at the sky on the 29th, I'm sorry, when you look up at the sky, the 29th is the 29th is the Sabbath. The night before, the 28th, even when you look up at the sky, you're going to see a sliver on the other side. It's going to be, because it's about to disappear. Tomorrow is going to be gone. The moon's going to be gone. You're not going to be able to see it. It's a dark moon, a black moon, however you want to call it. And it's not going to give her light at all. But you're going to see that really small little sliver of light, if you see one at all. And that's going to be the 29th day. And that's how you know that that's the 28th even, but that's how you know that tomorrow is the 29th day, and that is Shabbat, the Sabbath. But just know that when you see that first sliver of the moon, of the month, of the moon, tomorrow is new moon day. That's the first day of the month, and then it's always 7 days in interval. It's always the first new moon, and then the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and then the 29th. So you're doing your Sabbath on the 29th. You're resting. You're pleasing Yah, and then you look up tonight on at the sky.
If it were the 29th.
If it were the 29th, hypothetically, if it were the 29th, you're going to look up at the sky and you're going to look for a sliver again. If you don't see that sliver in the sky, tomorrow is the 30th day of the month. On the fourth Sabbath of the month, that even when you look, or throughout the night, when you look up at the sky, if you do not see a sliver of the moon, you most likely won't. I mean, well, it all depends. But if you don't see a sliver of the moon, tomorrow is the 30th day of the month. There is no such thing as a 31st day. So you can automatically know that tomorrow is going to be the 30th day of the month. So that lets you know that the next day, which would quote unquote might be the 31st day, in a Roman calendar, there is no such thing. So you automatically know that next day after the 30th day is new moon day.
And that's how
which is the first day of the month.
Time. Yeah, and that's how we got where we are now. Isn't tonight a full moon?
Tonight is a full moon.
Yes.
Tonight is a full moon. So that means tomorrow is the 15th day of the 8th biblical month. Well, we know it's the 8th biblical month, but if you didn't know it was the 8th biblical month, you would at least know that it is the 15th day of a month.
Of Yah's
of
calendar.
sun
Yeah.
on the biblical, exactly, on Yah's calendar, on Yah's celestial calendar that you can observe every single day when you look up. So again, that 30th day, it's because on the 29th, that even you didn't see a sliver, you didn't see the sliver, you didn't see the new moon sliver. So you know that tomorrow is the 30th day of the month. And then since there is no 31st day, the next day is going to automatically be the first day of the next, of the next consecutive month.
Mm-hmm. It's fair to
So,
say,
well,
Ronnie, is it? I'm sorry, go ahead.
so if you, on the 29th day of the month, if you look up at the sky and you see the sliver, the first sliver of the moon all over again, that 29th day, that means tomorrow there is no 30th day of the month, and you're going directly into the first day of the month, which is why the idiom goes in the Hebrew that says there is a day and an hour that no man knows, and that's called new moon day. That's why that is called new moon day, is called the day and the hour that no man knows. So why? Because you have to look on the 29th even to see if there's either going to be a 30th day or if it's going to be the start of the new month, the first day. You won't know until you actually put your eyes on it to observe. And once again, I'm reiterating, that is why the idiom exists. And it says that there is a day, it's called the day that no man knows the day or the hour, the hour.
Yeah.
No man knows the day or the hour. That day is new moon day. So when you see him say that in scripture, but so when is the coming of the Son of Man? And he says, no man knows the day or the hour, but the Father in heaven. You have to understand the Hebraicisms. He's not saying that you don't know. What he just told you is he's coming on a new moon day. That's what he just told you.
Yeah, you pointed that out, and I thought that was so awesome that day that we were looking at the which one was it? The Feast of Trumpets, was it? I think it was the Feast of Trumpets when you brought that great point up, and it was like
Absolutely,
we were all like,
absolutely.
what?
And I want to, I want to repeat things, because this is foreign information, but this is vital information, and this is true information, and we have to be equipped. But we're so unfamiliar that we have to be repetitive in hammering this down, because we have to get these concepts, and we have to uh, gain understanding and
Ronnie,
build a foundation off of these concepts.
I'm
Yes,
going to break in for a quick second.
yes.
Watchful and alert, may I ask for prayers? I'm kind of struggling. I live on a boat in Galveston, Texas, and I'm around a lot of different people, and I feel so alone. If it wasn't for my large family, I would be, but I'm the patriarch. I have a lot of really wealthy people around me, and they're often involved in unscrupulous things.
Mm.
You don't have to worry, we got you. I'm definitely going to intercede on your behalf and stand in the gap for you, and just going to make sure that we keep you in our hearts and minds when we petition Yah on your behalf, when we petition him on your behalf. You got it. No worries at all. The link that Rachel Van Ziel just put up, if you guys can grab that, maybe copy it on your copy board. She says that is the link that Ronnie is referring to. So it's the link that Ronnie is referring to. If you guys want to see my heart, it's here. We love you, brother. And I'm going to tell you something. That is a very masculine thing you just did. Because a lot of men, when it's a real man, he's going to ask for somebody to intercede for him. Other people won't do that. They won't take it to those that they fellowship with and say, hey, I need you to intercede for me. So we got you. You can believe that. We got
Okay.
you. We got
Well,
you, brother.
I would like to say this. When you are trying to be set apart and live a set apart lifestyle, and you're trying to break away from the monotony and all of the things of the day, and I'll use your terminology, unscrupulous things. You do feel alone. You do feel alone. and you know, it is good that you have a large family. You have an extended family, and you don't see us. You know, we can't reach out, give you a high five, shake your hand, give you a hug. We can't do these things, but I mean, we're all online. I'm speaking on us right here, and we are of one mind. We're in this together, and we need to have each other's back. I got your back. I'm hoping that you have mine, and like the time is now for these things. And I want to encourage you in saying that that Elijah got rebuked. He thought that he was the only one. He was like, man, I'm the only one trying to do this. I feel lonely out here. I'm the only one. And what did Yah say? He said, man, you're not the only one. I have 7,000 others of you. We're out here, man. We are out here. We're just few and far in between, but we are out here, and we're building, and we're growing, and we're strengthening, and we're sharpening. We're strengthening what remains. And you're one of us, and we're one of you, and we're in this together, man. We're in this together, man.
Hallelujah. Yes, we are. And that's why I'm glad that we're able to come on like this. And, you know, I think that it's important for us to be that transparent with each other. You know, it says, I knew Rob Skiba too before he was everywhere, LOL. So I think it's important for us to remember that we are, how do we word it when we mentioned assembly, that this is like the online assembly for all of us to come and chat together, because we are so spread apart. And just like Poppy Love mentioned, you know, needing some place to fellowship, we need that close connection with others. And we're just happy that we can be that place. If you can get yourself somewhere like what, you know, Poppy Love and I were just talking about in the chat a few minutes ago, it would be awesome. As a matter of fact, he's not that far from me, a few hours, Poppy Love. And so I'm thinking maybe I should share with everybody that if that's in this area, maybe we should just go visit with them once or twice or whatever. I know he builds tiny houses too. I can't take a tiny house. That'd be too small for me. But with that said, we got you, watchful and alert. Do not be concerned that we don't have you, because we have you. Okay? And I believe that everything that you need, that Yah will provide it for you. Peace of mind, restoration, just that deep drink of water when your soul is thirsty. I truly believe that he's going to provide everything and all that you need right there where you are. Right there where you are. He's got ministering angels camped all around and about you, and they are there to protect you and to keep your mind set on him. It is not easy when we in this flesh are surrounded by others who may be indulging in things we may have indulged in the past. You never know what the circumstances are, and this isn't necessarily about you, but just in general, so it's not easy. But the one thing is that I know how I know you got this, because you spoke it and you brought it to those who can intercede for you. Yah bless you, brother. Let's see. I wanted to look at everybody giving you all this love. Everybody's giving you all the love. That is awesome. Steve Willis says, at watchful and alert, this is home, a great place to be. And we appreciate that. Are there any more questions? I know that this is such new territory for all of us. What I will tell the mothers in the chat, that if you, or the families in the chat, or even the gentlemen in the chat that don't have a wife, but who, want to take care of tomorrow. Tomorrow is your Sabbat. And this is a good thing, because we're all right here. And Ronnie had the idea. He was like, hey, this is the time to pour this information into everybody. Let them ask questions. Because
Exactly.
tomorrow is the Sabbat.
Because when you look up in the sky and you're going to see a full moon. So look, the full moon, depending on what time zone you're in around the world, around this earth, this plane called Earth, no matter where you're at, it was during the daytime when it became 100% lunation, but you wouldn't have seen that because it was, during the daytime. So when we actually did start to see the glow of the moon, it was actually like 99.3% waning. So we were on the back end of it. But that lets you know, and that happened tonight when we saw the moon. It looked full. I could tell that it was a little bit, on the receding side, because I've been looking at it constantly for years now. But to the naked, untrained eye, it looked like a full moon or what have you. And then that lets you know that today must have been the 14th day of the month, and that lets you know that tomorrow is the 15th day, and that is a 7th-day interval. I encourage you to grasp this concept. The 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th days of the biblical month are Yah's Shabbats, and the first day is a type of Shabbat. It's called New Moon Day. In Ezekiel 46, there are 3 types of days. These 3 types of days are new moon days, Sabbaths, and working days. You have new moon day, you have Sabbath. There's a couple different types of Sabbaths. You have your 7th day Sabbaths, and you have your feast Sabbaths, and then you have 6 working days in the interim. And these are the 3 types of days. You're supposed to be in place at the right time. So check this out. So Sunday, so sometimes if we're going off of this, if we're going off of his calendar, sometimes right now it just happens to be Thursday because it's about to be Thursday, and this is the 15th day of the 8th biblical month. So that lets you know that tomorrow, it's a Sabbath or what have you. So it just happens to be Thursday on the Gregorian calendar.
And it just so happens to be the 22nd on the Gregorian calendar tomorrow.
Is it 20? It's the 21st. Well,
on the Gregorian calendar. For you, it's the 22nd now. For me, it's still the 21st. Tomorrow's the 22nd, which is, today is Thursday, so it's the 21st. It's
today's
14
the 20th.
after the, you're right.
But see, when you do all this post-meridian, pre-meridian, like all these meridian times, that's confusing because everybody's different at midnight. But the fact of the matter is that it's Thursday this month, and so so as far as the Roman calendar is concerned, the Sabbaths are being observed on quote unquote Thursdays. So that lets you know that sometime there's going to be a Sabbath on a Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Sometime there's going to be a Sabbath on a Saturday, but that doesn't mean that Sabbaths are Sundays or Saturdays. So my point being is that if the Sabbath does not fall on a Saturday or on a Sunday and you are worshiping Yah, go. You want to pull up Ezekiel 46 real quick?
I'm pulling up my Facebook right now for our young brother so that he has it. I'm going to come back on that side just a second.
All right. So I'm going to talk about it, but Ezekiel 46, everybody. So, but understand this. These, the Sabbaths and the new moons are set apart days. The English says holy days or whatever. They are sacred. They are sanctified, pure days where we are supposed to set aside specifically for Yah to worship him. That's what these days are for. And they're for us to rest and recuperate and regenerate and regroup. But definitely these days are days of worship. So check this out. If you're worshiping on a Sunday, when you go to church and you worship on a Sunday, that very well could be a 6-day work. That might be one of the 6 working days.
We had a Sunday a few months ago.
But what I'm saying, yes, yeah, and we're gonna have at least we're gonna have Sundays. You're gonna have 2 of them a year. You're gonna have most likely 2 of them a year. But the thing about it is that You're worshiping him on a day that you should be out there working. He's not receiving your worship. He's not checking for you on that day. And let me qualify that. Let me qualify that. Ezekiel 46. If everybody's there, but I'm going to read it. It says, and I'm just going to read it verbatim from the King James.
Big enough, you guys.
It's big enough. It's big enough for
It's
me.
big enough.
Well, I don't know. But I can read it.
Okay, cool beans.
All right, I'm going to read the first 3 verses. So
Okay.
check this out, and I'm going to read it verbatim off the King James. Thus says the Lord God, the gate of the inner court that looks toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Shabbat it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened. Let's talk about it real quick. There's a gate that looks towards the east. That gate, that's the gate that Yah, that's where we find Yah. He's toward the east. He's toward the east, and that's where we find him. That gate is shut on the 6 working days, but on new moon days and on Sabbaths, that's when the door is open. Let's read it again. But on the Sabbath it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened. So tomorrow is a Sabbath. The gate is open tomorrow. The gate is open tomorrow. The gate is shut today, and it has been for the past 6 days. The previous 6 days it's been shut. Tomorrow it's about to open up. Verse 2, and the prince, who is our high priest, and the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate without, and shall stand by the post of the gate, and the priests shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. So the prince, who is our high priest, and we all know who our high priest is, that's Yahweh Shah. He worships at the threshold of the gate on new moons and Sabbaths. So why wouldn't we do that too? If we're doing anything outside of what he's got going on, then we're out of line. Like, he's not worshiping on those days. He's not worshiping on the 6 working days. He's worshiping at the threshold of the gate on new moons and on the Sabbaths. And I'll read it again. And he shall worship at the threshold of the gate, then he shall go forth, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening. So he worships. He's the first fruit. He's going to go ahead and worship, and he's giving all the prepared peace offerings and burnt offerings on behalf of us unto our Elohim. And he's offering that to his Father, and then he's walking away from the door, and it's going to remain open all day long until even. Why? To give us a chance to behold and worship at the door as well. Why? Because in verse 3 it says, likewise, just like he did, likewise, the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before Yah in the Sabbaths and in the new moons. And the burnt offering, I'll go on to 4.
Yeah,
and the
but
burnt
you
offering
gotta go outside and look, you guys.
So are we grasping this concept? Are we grasping this concept? So any other day, the gate is shut and you're worshiping in vain. Like Yahweh Shah's not even out there worshiping. Why would you do it? And Yahweh Shah is on point. He does everything correctly.
Hallelujah. That's a good point. That's a good point, Ronnie. And it is important for us, you guys, to make sure that we go and look. Because say, for example, you don't go and look. And then you don't know, you know what I mean? You really don't know. You're just going by. I told the story to Rachel Benziel the other day, and to Ronnie, about how one time there was this digital thing, and I forgot the website. And I kept looking at that website every month. This was back in like 2017. Every time I would look at that website to try to figure it out. And do you know that demonic thing jumped? It literally jumped from the time I looked at it. An hour later, it literally changed the day. And so it just impressed upon me the importance of me going outside, looking myself. I don't talk about the fact that I go outside. I talked to my brother one day, and he had to remind me what day it was. Ronnie had to remind me what day it was. I was literally outside early in the morning. But my point is, it's important for us to get in a habit of looking, because technology, if we rest our laurels on Babylon's technology, it won't always be there.
Well,
And it's
one
not
day it's going
always
to
accurate.
fail. One
Yeah,
day it's
and
going to
it's
fail,
yeah,
actually.
and it's not accurate because it's still tied to Babylon. And then once we get into the habit, the funny thing is once you get into the habit of looking at it, your body automatically can feel it. It's like your, not your circadian rhythm, but your rhythm is matching, and you can feel it. So when you go outside and you start to look, you're like, okay, I know what it is tomorrow. So for us, I'm going to try to put this in layman's terms. When we're thinking of the Roman calendar, we're thinking of the 1st through the 30th, or the 1st through the 31st. And if you remember when you were a little kid, they taught us to count with our knuckles. You know, there's January with 31, and then the middle piece of between the pinky and the ring finger was 30, and all that other yak stuff, right? But if we get it in our mind, those particular dates that we just got through hearing, keeping in mind that we are on Yah's biblical calendar right now, and today in Yah's biblical month of the 8th month, now we're going into the 15th day. Even though for us while we are in in Babylon, it's literally the 21st. But by Yah's calendar, it's the 15th. Count up 7 days, right, Ronnie? 7 days or 6 days? How do we count? I count up 7 days because I know 6 days. So 21 plus the 6th coming is going to put me at, it's 15 plus the next one is 22, and then after that 29. So it's 15, 22, 29. And if you do go out on that 29th and you don't see that slither, you know that's 30 days, because we don't go beyond 30 days. It seems confusing, and I get tongue-tied myself, and that's the reason why I wouldn't teach this. I've got enough sense to stick to the lakes and streams that I'm used to and just follow what I know, and that's go outside. I can't, and sometimes it's hard to describe something that you have a tool for that works for you. For me, I go outside. Okay? And that's why I recommend that you guys do not lean on those apps, because I did it and it was the creepiest thing. I freaked. My husband was looking at me like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, look, it just changed. You just heard me tell you, and I just took a screenshot. Look at the screenshot and look at this. And it literally jumped. So once we get into the habit of understanding that Yah's biblical month is not like Rome's month, okay? Ronnie, am I incorrect? Isn't it China that just never looks at Rome's calendar?
Man, China be bucking on Rome every chance they get.
China buck on Rome every chance they get. So yeah, and it did, Poppy Love. It changed on me, and it freaked me out. I'm looking at my husband. He's very calm and quiet. He's just looking at me like, oh no, she's on another tangent. I think it ought to be over soon. And I'm like, oh my God, it's tripping. It changed. So I encourage you to get into the habit of going out looking at the moon. Yah forbid that you would be stuck in a forest and need it. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Well, let me qualify this, because we're just reading from Ezekiel 46. And so when we're under a certain mindset or a certain impression, we can be like, yeah, but that's Old Testament and it doesn't apply today, and this, that, and the other. You have to understand context. So I'm going to give it to you as a cheat sheet, but you need to know this for yourself. Ezekiel actually, the book of Ezekiel is actually like this super huge prophetic book about the future. And what is going on? What is going on is an angel then snatched up Ezekiel and took him and showed him a whole bunch of things. And right now he's viewing the future. He's viewing the end times. And this is what he's seeing in the latter days.
Well, Sarah has a good question that I think everybody's gonna ask, and it is so. Go out on the 28th and look. If you see the sliver, the Shabbat is the 29th, or go out on the 29th, and if you see the slither, it's 30th. It's the 30th.
Well, think about what you just asked. Think about what you just asked.
So it's not the
When you
28th on the Gregorian calendar. It's the 29th day of the biblical month. And right now it is the 15th that we're having our Sabbat on. And in this case, our 15th day on the biblical calendar falls on a Thursday. Okay? And generally it keeps going. But tomorrow is the 15th. Okay, for some people, if you're West Coast, tomorrow's the 15th.
So when I'm saying 21st and 29th, and, 22nd and 15th or whatever, that's the confused. That's where there's a lot of confusion that comes into play, because we're not speaking on, we're not basing those numbers of days, the 22nd, the 29th, on an actual month of the Gregorian Roman calendar. What we're doing is counting the days based off of the new moon. So when you see that first sliver, and I'll answer that question. I'll answer that question. But when you see that first sliver that evening, when you look at the first sliver, that lets you know that tomorrow morning is going to be day 1 of the biblical month. And then you start your count based on day 1 of the biblical month, based on that sliver that you saw the night before. So we're going forward throughout the the actual real month, the biblical month, and then we approach the 28th day at even. So we approach the 28th night. When we look on the 28th night up at the sky, you're going to see the waning sliver. You're going to see a waning sliver. It's a sliver that's going to be on the left-hand side of the sky. So when you see that sliver, tomorrow is the 29th day. I mean, it's going to be the 29th day regardless, but I'm just showing you that when at these intervals, at these 7-day intervals, it's always a sliver, and then 7 days later it's a half, and then 7 days later it's a whole, and then 7 days later it's a half again, and then 7 days later it's a sliver again on the other side. That's always, that's a hallmark. That's always the case. So the 28th day, you're going to see that sliver of the residual, the ending of the moon's cycles sliver. You're going to see that on the 28th even. Then tomorrow is going to be the 29th day, and that is going to be a Sabbath, the fourth Sabbath of the moon, of the month. And then you do your Sabbath, you rest, and then you worship Yah on that day. And then that even again, on the 29th, you're going to look for the sliver, the renewed sliver, the brand new sliver. And if you see one, so it's that it'll be on the flip side, it'll be the mirror image, it'll be on the other side, the right hand side of the sky. It'll be on the other side of the sky, excuse me. So you'll see that mirrored sliver, and then that'll be the 29th even. When you see that sliver, that lets you know that tomorrow is new moon day, because every time you see the waxing sliver, the first illumination of the waxing crescent, you know that is a sign that tomorrow is new moon day, the first day of the month. That'll be on the 29th day. If you do not see one, if you're looking all over and it's a very crispy, clear sky and you don't see any moon whatsoever, nowhere to be found, it's because it's a dark moon, it's a conjunction moon, it's a black moon, however you want to call it. That lets you know that tomorrow, and we're talking about the 29th evening, tomorrow is going to be the 30th day of the month. There's going to be a 30th day of the month. And then that's just that. It's a 30th day of the month. There is no 31st day of the month. So when you look up at the sky on that 30th day of the month, you'll see the sliver that you were looking for. That lets you know that tomorrow is going to be the first day of the following month, biblical month. Trying to be as clear as possible, and I get a little overly wordy when I'm trying to be clear, and I might confuse, but I hope
No,
that
you're
was
okay. I'll put
okay.
something down below also in the chat and the description box for you guys, and maybe that'll help make it clearer. Here's the deal. Do not worry, because all of us get stuff wrong. I told a story just recently about how I jacked up on a feast day trying to, you know, run over my own feet, tripping over my own feet. So don't worry. This is going to be easy once we get it. Um, and then we'll also put up reminders, like I did a while back. You know, I put up Happy Sabbath to everybody and whatnot. So we'll just be cognizant of the fact that we're all getting it. And then, you know, you'll be able to tell us, hey, I got it. You know, I know Rachel's got it. I know Mama Bear, Papa Bear. I believe Mama Bear, Papa Bear's got it. But there's a lot of us that are getting it, you know. And here's the problem. I think it's that there's so many different people's interpretation, and like Ronnie said, you can only go by what Yah says. You know, you gotta study it out, and you'll find that the more you want to do it, He'll just make it plain to you. He will teach. See, the thing about learning is that each one of us learn in our own precious way, and Yah is so patient. As long as we're digging in, He's going to make sure you get it. He is going to make sure you get it, because you cannot have the desire, the earnest desire to know something, and He's got information and He won't give it to you, especially if it's something that is wholesome and that's necessary. And trust and believe this is necessary. Okay? We're coming
So,
up on, go ahead.
well, so what's interesting about Ezekiel 46 is that it's real, it's realistic, and
Yeah,
it's metaphorical at the same exact
I
time.
like that.
It's crazy how it works, because what he's actually envisioning is a temple, but there is no temple.
You the
There is
temple.
there is no temple,
You the
and he's
temple?
seeing a temple. So that indicates that there in the quote unquote last days, that there is a third temple, a quote unquote third temple. And because people don't understand the metaphors and the spirituality of, the essence and the principles of what he's saying fundamentally, um, you have a group of people that's actually trying to physically build geographically in real time an actual third temple.
Yes.
But that's not what's going on. There is a third temple, but it's not. The third temple is in the kingdom.
That's good.
The third temple is in the kingdom, and in actuality, we comprise this temple. We are the third temple, quite literally. We are the stones that comprise the walls of the temple, and of the altar, of the threshing floor. We're everything. We are the kingdom. We are quite literally and quite metaphorically the kingdom. It's both spirit and truth. It's
Hallelujah.
it's an interesting concept, but we have to wrap our minds around these truths. So when you see people, oh yeah, they're building the third temple, I can't wait. Like, that's based on a misunderstanding and
Yeah.
a perpetuation of misunderstandings.
Yes. Me too, Watchful and Alert. That's one of my favorite books is Enoch. Um, what I did, you guys, is I put the links down there. And listen, um, there is a reason, you know, here's what I want to say. And Ronnie said it perfectly earlier, and I'm going to use it in a different context. Ronnie made the comment where I think it was the prophet was like, I just feel like I'm just doing this and it's just me all by myself. He's like, yo, I don't think so, dude. There's like 7,000 more of you. So here's my point. There are other good people, and the only one I would ever recommend from my platform is the one that Yah helped me the date, the time frame that I needed to know certain things. And I had met Ronnie, and then after I met Ronnie, ran across this video that told me everything Ronnie said, and that was the gentleman that you just saw. So I would recommend that if you have any questions, go to sound people. I'm not going to recommend you to possibly anybody else, because I've looked a lot. And there's nobody else other than Ronnie that I would recommend you to, and the young man from 7, Trumpets Prepper. If you want to go there and look and get some sound biblical, reasoning, then do that. And look at all of the videos that Ronnie has. And I keep seeing this whiteboard talk. We're going to get a whiteboard. We're going to get a whiteboard. Or if we don't use the whiteboard, we can also definitely do, some type of, I shouldn't say spreadsheets, but, we'll make sure that you guys have some visuals. And that's important because most people, some people are visual, some people are kinesthetic, some people, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people learn different ways. Yes, Mama Bear and Papa Bear, there are few and far between. Yes, there are. And yeah, so it's gonna come. You guys, one thing I want to tell you guys is relax. Relax. While we're still in Babylon, we're still in captivity, there's going to be, we are still in captivity, there is definitely going to be some space and some time to learn. But look, Yah, he probably cracked up on me that day that I was jacking up that feast day. I was like, something doesn't feel right. I kept telling the Father, I was like, this can't be right. I don't think this is accurate. I think I'm supposed to be doing something else. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, she said, oops, you know what I meant. No, I got you. We got you. We are the body of Christ and the temple, you say. We understand where you were going with that. Let's just relax, everybody, and just remember that Yah has us, and this is going to come. Ronnie is going to come back and do another portion of this teaching. And we're going, and what I love about him is that he drives it home until we get it. He doesn't let you go. That's just the order that he's from. He does not let you go. And I love the way he answers the questions, because he will give you the thorough answer. And for me, I like that because while he's talking, clink, I'll get a light bulb. Steve Willis did that the other week. He had 2 light bulbs. Clink, clink. It's like, oh, now I get it. And that's because he keeps driving it. So we're right now at the 2-hour, 36-minute, you guys, mark of this show. Ronnie, tell us what you'd like to see done next. Now, I know we had a question about that name that was mentioned, and I know we also got somebody asking about, I believe it's Genesis. This, I believe, is the thing that we really need to grasp. Where do you see your teaching going next? What would you like to talk about next? The rest
as far as this is concerned,
would it be
no. I'm saying as far as this is concerned, right here and right now, the actual real calendar. Is there any anything that somebody wants to type in real quick before we progress, like that you need something ironed out or whatever? Because
yes,
this is vital. So throw that out there, and if we don't know it, let's figure it out together. That's
that. Let's figure it out together. I like it. Let's just figure it out together. Oh, you're just so nice. And call back if you don't have it.
Exactly.
And if that doesn't work, just give me a call back.
We'll figure this thing out together.
So
let's get to the bottom of this.
Let's just get to the bottom of this. This doesn't make any sense.
Because in actuality, there are many facets to the mark of the beast, and I assure you that this is one of them. How do you know you're marked? How do you know you're marked by something? Is when you're doing its bidding. You're doing its bidding, and then it's actually a strong delusion because you don't even realize you're doing its bidding. You think that you're acting of your own accord, but no, we are embedded in indoctrination through advertisement, through man, it goes deep.
Watchful and Alert says that he would like for us to get to know who he is, and we definitely will. I'm going to put his link down below inside of the chat, and that way you guys can go and share with your brother, join his channel, watch his videos. He's telling us here that, you know what, if you want to know me and my past, I only got 3 videos, but I pour out my heart And I'd like y'all to know me. So scriptural, because the word tells us that we should know those that labor among us. So very scriptural. Here is his link there if you want to get to know him. It looks like you used to be called the hot wing cooker. Hot wing cooker. And so there are 4 videos here. And I recommend that you guys watch it, watch it and reach out to him if you guys could. No, it's nothing to promote. Nah, listen, we've got to promote each other. Because I tell you one thing, ain't nobody else going to do it. And I just appreciate your heart. I appreciate your heart. So, Ronnie, going ahead, finish up. You all, it's 2 hours, 40 minutes. I may be flaking out here in a second on you guys because I've been
don't
up
flake out.
since
Don't
4,
flake out.
and I may go to sleep. So Ronnie gonna have to shut it
No,
down.
no, no, no. Let's wrap this thing up. Let's wrap this thing up. All
You gonna hear me up to
the lock
slobbing on
of
down the side of my face.
everything.
Then you hear the grandkids, grandmother, why are you still up? What's going on?
No, we can wrap it up, but this is vital information. This is
Yes, it
actually
is.
clutch information,
Yes, it
and
is.
I actually do not promote anybody. I don't endorse anybody. But I can say off of what I heard and saw, the couple of moments that I did see on the one video that you started this
7
presentation with,
trumpets. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I he didn't skip a beat, man.
Mm-mm.
So at least that portion of that video,
Mm-hmm.
I
All
would
of
I
his
would
videos
I
are
would
like that.
well,
I
like I
appreciate
said,
the way you don't be vouching though.
I
like
ain't
that.
vouching for nobody.
I like that. He's saying about I'm not praying for nobody but Yasharal. And I'm not vouching for nobody but who the Lord sent, who y'all send me to, send me to view or to watch or to vouch for. And you guys know what? That's important. That's scripture. You know what I'm saying? That's scripture. What I love about Lee and what I love about Ronnie is you ain't changing their mind. Robert Ingram, hey, yes,
He's a,
please.
he's a hero.
I arose. He's a ribbon.
Hey,
Remember when we said that?
Mr.
I
Ingram.
arose in a ribbon.
Hey, Mr. Ingram,
I love it.
it's some pretty vital information as far as knowing what time it is, and
Yes.
uh yeah, it's pertinent for to the times and for the times, but we do need to know what time it is because the time is winding up, winding down, however you want to
It's winding.
yeah,
Poppy
it's
Love
come.
says she needs a lot of ironing out. I plan on listening to this again tomorrow from the beginning, and I will probably have some questions then. Thank you, Ronnie and Felicia. This Friday, you guys, we're not going to have our 3 o'clock show, but we are going to have our praise testimony because I just like it. And I foregone it or I arroved it. I didn't do it because
He
I didn't
said
know if anybody's going to come, but I like it, so I'm doing it.
he
And
said you a roll.
yeah, he said I arose. I have a ribbon. But I like it. So you guys come on and check us out. Don't leave us standing there by ourselves, you guys. Tell us something good. Tell us something good.
Well, Miss Felicia,
Please. Go, Ronnie.
Miss
I'm
Felicia,
sleepy. You see I'm
the
babbling. Go.
the the eschatology is important. We have to hone in on what time it is, and we're never going to know the exacts, but he does give us signs for the seasons, for the days and the times. Like he lets us know uh what way markers. Road, he gives us road signs to let us know that we are vastly approaching a certain portion. So not we're definitely never going to date set, but it's obvious that we're winding down. So this eschatology is important, so we should definitely match up the current events with the biblical quote unquote end time prophecies, and I think that we should do that. We should also and how do you do that? You got to figure out what happened at the beginning. You want to know the end? You want to know the end? Figure out what happened at the beginning.
Figure the beginning. Go to the beginning.
So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Because I'm about to get corny. We'll be on the phone sometimes. My brother will say, go to bed, hang up. Ron will be like, go to bed, hang up. Because I get real giddy, goofball. I'm like, oh, that's a good joke. And you're like, you made that joke up and you laughed at it, Felicia? Really? Okay, so glad you all are up so late. I'm a night person, and you all are a wonderful blessing being here. Hey, you know what? I'm going to take it old school in a minute. I may do us an all-night praise where we just up playing praise music.
No,
you know,
not.
Ronnie
You
will
gotta
have
go
to
to sleep.
open up his crates and just open up the crate, play all the music that we can, and just hang out for 12 hours from midnight to 12 o'clock and just party with the word and party with the music. Literally, I'm that cornball. I'll do it. So, all right, you guys. I love all of you all. You all have been wonderful.
I want to comment.
Huh?
I want to comment on a comment.
Oh, you want to comment on a comment? Go ahead.
Yes.
I'll comment on that comment.
Miss Sarah Brown right there.
Oh, that one?
I want to get where I forget what day it is by Romans calendar.
Go ahead.
Miss Sarah Brown, I am there. That's where I'm at. I'm like, what day is it today? I know it's the 15th. It ain't the 15th. It's the 21st. Well, it's the 15th day of the 8th month. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. What is it? Tuesday? It's Thursday? I don't know what day it is. I don't know what day it is. And so I'm the flip. It used to be confusing because my gauge was Rome. I based everything on my understanding of Rome, but that is far out of my head now. It is. I'm like, oh man, what is it? Yeah, we're in October. This is October, and in actuality, I love that feeling. It's the flip. I feel like I have really discarded Babylon. I firmly feel like that, and since I'm this far in, it's like if I notice anything else that I'm attached to Babylon, it's so easy just to let it go. It's difficult and confusing and hard, but then it gets super easy afterwards. It's like whatever. Get out of here. Get out of here, Ron. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Beat it.
Skedaddle.
Skedaddle. Get out of here. And
Enough
take your
already.
calendar with ya. See, I'm getting goofy. All right, you guys. I love each and every one of you guys. It's been great. I am so happy that you guys got a chance to come back with us. All the little catastrophes and all the stuff in the beginning, none of it took y'all by surprise and none of it took him by shock. So you guys remember what we always say here on this channel. That man shall not live by bread alone. I told y'all I'm tired. Y'all see me jack it up, flipping. I'm looking like, how is Ronnie saying that? I'm pushing buttons and I was like, Ronnie doesn't say that. But Ronnie was on the screen. So you guys, I'm going to start it again. Hey, remember what we always say on this channel. That man shall not live by bread alone, but by every single word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. You guys take care of yourselves and take care of one another. Have an excellent Sabbath tomorrow. Okay? You guys take care and be blessed. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way, helping you to make it through another day.